Oh, shalom, my friends. Shalom, my enemies. Shalom, all of you millions of people in between. This is your old pal, Rabbi Sal Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches. And we are here with a brand new live episode of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the stream on this Saturday morning. I know it's Shabbos. I'm not that kind of a rabbi. I can get away with these things because I have a direct communication with Hashem. And I asked Hashem this week, I said, Hashem, because we're like that, we're buddies like that. Hashem, we need a guest for this episode of Dave's Gone By. We can't find anyone. We want to have somebody fun, who's somebody interesting, who's had a whole big background, and somebody funny. We all need to laugh. We all need to get over this COVID stuff. So who can I get? And wouldn't you know that Ted Greenberg showed up in my mind in a flash, like a burning bush, which is, if you have that, women go to a gynecologist. But Ted Greenberg, he has been doing his off-Broadway show called The Complete Performer at the Soho Playhouse for more than a decade. It's been there. He was also, prior to this, a writer for the David Letterman late night show way back in the early years when the show was even greater than it was later on. So we thought, hey, let's have Ted Greenberg on the program, and he is, and he will be, and we're gonna get him on the show as we play Dave's opening music.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. There goes the Daverhood.
And there was much rejoicing.
Didn't your meds kick in yet?
Yeah, David Lefker is here. He's a Long Island Arts guy. He's got his own radio show.
I want you all to really enjoy a wonderful program done by a fine artist.
A glorious thing of unparalleled beauty.
Dave's Gone By. Dave is one of my very favorite broadcasters, so keep on listening to Mr. Dave.
Oh, shalom again, my friends. As I said, this is Rabbi Sal Solomon from Temple Sons of Bitches talking to you live on this Shabbos. It is May 16th, 2020, and we are here with the 746th episode of the Dave's Gone By program. Dave is waiting in the wings. He's going to take over the show later on. But I begged, I implored, I pleaded even to do the interview that we have happening right this second live with someone from his last name, I assume to be Jewish. His name is Ted Greenberg. Ted, you're right there. I think we all see you. Let's see if we can hear you. Shalom, Ted, you there?
Shalom, I'm here and I am Jewish.
He is Jewish. Oh, good. I wanted to stop the interview after 30 seconds. So you passed the test. This is exciting. And Ted is a writer, performer. As a matter of fact, he wrote for the David Letterman show back in the days when it was not only, it was always great, but when it was even greater than great, because it was weird and strange and trying every possible thing. And among the things that this man had David Letterman try was the Velcro suit. Everybody remembers this. And check this out. There was the Larry Bud Melman singles ski weekend. If there's ever a greater idea than that, I can't even think of one. And then years after this, he finds a little kind of an off-Broadway theater downtown, the Soho Playhouse. As a matter of fact, we had the proprietor of the Soho Playhouse on Van Dam Street on this program just a couple of months ago. His show, Ted Greenberg's show, was called The Complete Performer. And it's hard to describe. It's a mix of stand-up comedy and improv and audience participation and weirdness and props and gossip. It's a really interesting thing called The Complete Performer that has been going on now, except it's not going on right now because nothing is going on right now, for about 12 years. But ladies and gentlemen, won't you please welcome, after this incredibly long introduction, Ted Greenberg. Shalom, Ted.
Thanks, Rabbi. I'm very impressed by your research. That
Oh,
was
thank you. And I did tons of Googling for this. Oh my God. Back in the day, I would have gone to like the NYU Elmer Holmes Boast Library. Hours and using microfiche to find these things about you. But no, it's like Google, Ted Greenberg. Boom, it was there. But
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I was kicked out of that, Rabbi. Out of that library. It was a fantastic library, the Boast.
Why were you kicked out of Boast Lab? Was this when you were a Wall Street guy or when?
Yeah, it was when I thought I had a fake. I thought I had a good NYU ID because I'd gone to summer school there 10 years earlier, but it didn't pass muster and they kicked me out of Boast Library. That's the only time I've ever been kicked out of anything.
Well, wait, it wasn't a fake ID. It was the ID.
Well, it was sort of a fake ID. I mean, it was a summer school ID from 10 years earlier.
Oh, okay. Because Dave, the guy who runs this, he's an alumnus.
Yeah.
Or an alumnus, as Jewish people would say, of NYU. And so he's still hoping that library card will get him in if the library ever reopens.
Yeah.
But yeah, we mentioned you were, let's see, at one point. So let me get the timeline straight. Because at one point, this Wall Street stuff, and another point, you're also like an epidemiologist, and I can't even say the word, let alone know what it is. And then you're also, so what the hell is your timeline? Tell us.
The general timeline is when I got out of college, I wanted to be a comedy writer, and I wrote for Letterman, and then I did a TV pilot with my best friend, and I wrote some plays.
Stop.
Yeah.
This is I'm not talking about like a little. When you say, "Oh, I wrote for Letterman," this is 10 minutes worth of material right here. So you gotta.
I was my partner and I were among the early writers for Letterman in '83 and '84, and I don't want to exaggerate my role. I was only there for like 6 or 8 months, but as you point out, it was a very formative time in the show when he was willing to try anything, and it was a fantastic time for like a young writer to be on a show because it was so daring, and he knew what he wanted, but within a very wide range, he would try anything and entertain any idea. So yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, in recent bios of him, a lot of that supposedly was more Meryl Marco. Even then, I mean, he would sign off, but it was her.
You're so right. She was so influential. He'd had that morning show that didn't really work. And she was convinced that his strong suit was getting out of the chair and moving around in and out of the studio. And she was 100% right. And in that spirit, sort of a Steve Allen spirit of try anything, he totally bought into that and did not want to suffer the same fate as his morning show. So was really open to taking risks. And Meryl Marco was huge behind that. I mean, she really is the unsung hero of his early years. And I guess she's not so unsung anymore.
She's not so excited. I think it was Ned Kastroff wrote a book about the whole period. It's his book. And
that's right.
Clear, yeah. So let me ask you this. So like, I would still give my left nut to have a writer for David Letterman at any period. Not my right nut, because I'm quite attached to that one, but my left, I would have given to write for the Letterman show. How did you and your partner, how did you even get the gig?
I knew a producer there who put our submissions on the top of the list. And they had an exodus of like their entire writing staff left for the new Lorne Michaels show. So they were desperate for writers.
Wow.
And so it was lucky. So my partner and I spent a weekend coming up with 100 ideas, just like bullet point ideas, sort of conceptual ideas, like Dave wearing a Velcro suit on a trampoline.
So that was something you came up with as an audition to get into the show.
Yeah, exactly. And like, and they got like 20 there were 20 show-worthy ideas in that submission. So from their attitude, it was worth a 3-month investment. Like, they were at least going to get their 3 months worth from us.
But you guys were there, how long did you say, like 9 months? How long?
I was there like 7 months, and Yaz was there for like a year and a half.
Well, you mentioned your friend, quote unquote, Yaz, another friend of the Daverhood. We're talking about the composer, the guy who wrote the band, is it? And oh my God, what's Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, David Yaz.
Full Monty, yeah.
Full Monty, that's the one. So when you say,
and he's working on The Princess Bride right now.
Wow. So are you still friends? Are you still buddies?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. Oh, Muslim. So you both got on the show.
And David's mother is Jewish, so he's Jewish.
Yeah, well, yes, we know. That's right. He made the Jews and the Arabs look good in the band's visit. Because if he were a real left-wing Jew, he'd make the Jews look terrible and the Arabs wonderful. And
yeah.
Right-wing Jew, the Arabs would be all terrorists. But you can tell he's sort of in the middle there.
As you're talking, I don't think I've ever met anybody who's more astute in the combination of culture, of pop culture, and Judaism. You really have a great niche.
Oh, my, thank you. So Abba Ebang has nothing on me. Let me tell you that. Thank you so much. By the way, what is your Ted, right? So what is your Hebrew name?
Theodore.
Oh.
Yeah, Theodore.
Theodore. Now that's not what they call you in shul when they call you up to the.
I'm embarrassed to say that I don't know that I was ever given a Hebrew name. I'm so sorry.
Oh my God.
We were very Jewish, but in a secular way. We were very Jewish in our heritage and in our gratitude, in sort of the Exodus spirit of gratitude, but we weren't really observant.
Oh.
I wasn't bar mitzvahed. My dad wasn't bar mitzvahed.
You weren't even bar mitzvahed? Oh,
no.
Oh, that's horrible. Are you circumcised?
I believe I am, yes.
You would know. I mean, is the Oscar Mayer winger, does it have the skin on, or is it what? You would know. It's easy.
Now that you press me on it, I concede I was.
I'm not going to press you on it. That'd be horrible. No, if you've never had a check for smegma, you've had the operation done. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Where the hell was I? So we're talking about So do you remember any of the other bullet point ideas that got through that you did?
Yeah, there was like Parents' Day for the crew. There was something called wow, you're really putting me to it. There was Dave's red wig, which was just there was a wig on a pedestal under glass on stage the entire show, and it was billboarded the entire show, Dave's red wig, and finally he puts the wig on at the end of the show. I mean, there was just a lot of goofy stuff like that. Audience cable show where audience members were given their own public access cable show, and so guests from Dave's show were shuttled to the public access studio. So I think like Dr. Ruth got into a cab, like left Dave's show, got into a cab, went to the public access show, and Dave is watching the public access show on his desk.
This is brilliant. This is wonderful stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it was really. I mean, that was a really sweet thing. There were a bunch of others, but all in that sort of goofy, rollicking spirit.
Now, I don't want. Well, I'm a Jew, so of course I'm going to go negative on this. But
yeah,
in terms of, you were there 7 months, right?
Yeah.
Why, I imagine you did not just say, "Oh, I quit."
I did. I did because I was crazy. I didn't realize how good I had it. I was sort of anxious in the job in the first place. It was really hard. And I had it in my head that I didn't want to do disposable work, that I wanted to write plays. It was sort of like this Barton Fink thinking, where like I'm too good for TV. I was 23. I was an idiot.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, no, I'm sorry. You were.
I was. I was an idiot. Yeah.
I mean, you could write plays on your weekends. I mean, but let me also ask.
You know, I mean, the thing about the show, Rabbi, is that like at the time there were like 8 writers, and it was really hard. And it's not like, I mean, it was a 10-hour a day job. You know, it was a 6-day, 10-hour day at least. You know, and like and every third day, Dave wouldn't like the next show, and you would have to stay in the office till 11 at night. I mean, it was really hard work. And I mean, that it was a new show had benefits in that he would take risks. However, it wasn't the machine that most shows become, that, you know, and they become sort of like reasonable office jobs after a while. But in the first 2 years, it's like everyone's pulling their hair out to stay alive. And that was a lot of stress for my temperament at age 23.
Well, speaking of temperament, did you ever witness any Letterman meltdowns? Did he break things? I mean, this is a pair.
You know, it was the point in the show where he was insulated by the head writer, Steve O'Donnell. So it was only like once every couple of weeks where you'd be in a meeting with him. So his meltdowns, his so-called meltdowns, were not in front of writers.
Oh, that's okay. That's good.
Yeah, he was sort of sealed in his office.
And did you have any nice interactions, fun interactions with him in the 6-7 months that, you know?
I mean, you know, like he was pleasant enough in the hallways, but it really was kind of that Larry Sanders thing where he like the last thing he'd want is to be trapped in an elevator with a writer. You know, like what the hell was he going to talk about? You know, and like I think I knew enough about sports, so it wouldn't have been awkward for either of us. But it was.
I gotcha. I know.
Yeah.
So let me. Now you're 24 years old. You have the Letterman show with some good money in your pocket, but not enough to last for a decade. What did you do next?
I went to Europe with my best friend from college, and I hung out there for 6 months. I studied Italian in Perugia, Italy. Went to the language school there. You know, like that's what I did with the money.
Can I ask you, did you come from money? Were your parents in well off, as it were?
Yes. My father hit it big when I was 7, and I knew that I wouldn't have to worry about like medical stuff. But he was pretty strict about money when we were growing up.
Right. Okay. Well, he hit it big. What? Was he a bootlegger?
On Wall Street. Yeah.
Law. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So you knew, like a lot of nice Jewish middle class people, that I can fly a little bit, and I'll always have a place to come.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was always a very high safety net.
So you come out of Italy speaking bare Italian, and
then I start to write plays, and I drive a cab on weekends, and that's how I pay my rent. And that lasted for a bunch of, and then my best friend and I wrote a TV pilot that was almost picked up.
Oh, can I ask, what was the show? Who was in it?
It was called Bowling for Horror, and it was a movie wraparound show, kind of like Mystery Science Theater 2000.
Uh-huh.
And we had Brian Doyle Murray, Bill Murray's brother, and an actor named Edson. What's his name? Richard Edson. You would recognize him because he'd been in a lot of movies at the time.
Is he Jewish?
He's not.
I wouldn't recognize him. Okay.
And then so then I got sort of angry at not having plays produced, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to make a lot of money. And
and you went to Wall Street, became a stockbroker.
Yeah, I became a trader, and I did that for roughly 10 years. And then
wait, stop.
Yeah.
Was it a horrible? Did you hate it, or did you actually really get it? Did you get on the adrenaline and love it?
When it was easy, and it was easy the first 3 or 4 years, I loved it, and then my business dried up, and it became a grind, and then I hated it. So it was like a lot of things.
Well, it dried up. Was there a recession in that point, or why?
Well, there was. I did a specific thing called deal arbitrage, which I don't know if you remember the late 80s and early 90s, but there were a lot of these gigantic deals like R.J. Reynolds got sold and Pillsbury got sold. And so there was a lot of money to be made in the late 80s and early 90s. And then that business dried up, like the sort of frothiness dried up when Drexel Burnham went under and financing got harder. So then it became a grind for the next 4 or 5 years. And then what happened was my mom jumped out of a window, killed herself. And I became very interested in suicide prevention. And that coincided with the winding down of my business anyway. So
not to make a joke, I will. It's usually the stockbroker who jumps out the window. No, but was she, had she been mentally ill all through or something? What?
Yeah. She had, but it was sort of concealed. And it was not something that I was really attuned to. But yeah, she was depressive. It didn't come out of nowhere.
And then, but wow, was your dad still alive at that point?
He was, but they'd been divorced for a long time.
So did that? Of course, it rocked your world. But how do you get through something like that? How do you wrap your mind around that kind of exit?
The big challenge for me was to understand it and to be comfortable that I wouldn't do the same thing, because I had felt a deep affinity with my mom. And so one of my reactions was just fear that, oh my God, I'm a lot like my mom. Maybe I'll kill myself. So what happened was, and I didn't really realize that this at the time, I did sort of a deep dive in the field, and I got a master's in public health, and I worked at Columbia in the adolescent suicide prevention division. Right. And I did suicide prevention work for like eight years. And I really, in the process of understanding the field, it really helped me understand myself. I mean, for the same reason a lot of people go into mental health, into the profession, there's a lot of figuring yourself out in the process.
What did you learn about yourself?
That I'm like a lot different from my mother, and that's very glibly put, but there's a lot to that revelation, especially when a parent takes her life.
Speaking of horrible tragedies, you were married and divorced. I mean, did you learn something from that experience? Are you married again? Do you have a partner in your life? Where are you in that?
I'm single, and I've been single for 5 years. I had a 8-year partnership that ended 5 years ago, and it was great, but it reached its natural course.
So are you at the point where you will not get married? You'll date and you'll.
I think I'm definitely open to getting married.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, how is pre-COVID? How is dating in New York these days? I mean, are you on apps? Do you actually meet people just out there in Manhattan? I mean, how do you go about meeting nice Jewish girls? Better be Jewish, nice Jewish girls.
If I were more, I should be on apps. It's not a top of mind thing, but if it were, I would be on apps. It's just the sort of thing that I'm open to, and if something occurs, great.
Well, I mean, if you were
now post-COVID, I don't know what is going to happen. I can't begin to imagine going about.
Can you point to things that happened in the marriage that you had that you would do over, that you would change, or was it more her? She was horrible, or how would you do it differently?
Oh, Rabbi, it was just not a great idea. We were not right for each other, and I got married too soon in the wake of my mom's death. And so I didn't have a good sense of who I was and what I wanted. I was very confused at that point. And I felt like, gee, I'm almost 40. If I want to have kids, if I want to do this, I better get married. So I did.
So now let's roll it. By the way, we're talking with Ted Greenberg, who doesn't even know his own Jewish name. This is horrible, but otherwise, we're having a wonderful chat with this man who is really best known in New York circles for this show that he had been doing at the Soho Playhouse for year after year after year, once a week, called The Complete Performer. We're going to ramp to get to there. At the moment, we've left you leaving Wall Street. You probably made enough money in those 10 years that you can basically live frugally for the rest of your life, I hope. Is that...
Yeah, that was my thinking at the time. Yes, that was my thinking at the time, that I can coast for a really long time. Yeah.
And you've been, but so what did you do after that?
So then I went back to school. I went to Columbia and I worked full time and went to school full time.
Oh, so you were your job was suicide prevention. That was Okay, got it.
Yeah. And then when that sort of ran its course, and then in my early 40s now. Yeah, I guess it's like early mid 40s. I saw an act, a prop comic, who blew me away. He's actually an LA prop comic.
I hate prop comics.
I know. I never liked them either until I saw this guy, and then I thought, oh my God, I'd love to produce that guy in New York City. And then 2 weeks later, I thought, no, you know what? I want to perform. I want to perform. And so I gave my job notice and I left 6 months later and I started doing stand-up. And then within like 3 months, I was on stage 5 times a night.
Opening for people. You wouldn't have suddenly been like a headliner in...
No. But in New York City, if you do your own show, you can swap spots. It's like if you... So I started a show in my neighborhood. And then I really dove into it, where I got on stage a lot.
Good.
And then I started doing The Complete Performer in 2008, and I never stopped. I mean, I really love doing it. It's a very fun show for me.
Now let me ask you. When we describe The Complete Performer, I mentioned that it's not quite just regular stand-up. Even when you were doing stand-up, how would you describe what you do?
There are jokes in it, and I mean there are like setup and punchline jokes, but I would consider the show more of a party, and that moves really fast. It's a form-busting 60-minute comedy show that moves really fast. There's magic in it, and it's rollicking and fast and surprising. Now it is offbeat, but to me it's almost a throwback to the sort of unusual shows I saw as a kid growing up in New York City. You know, where you'd walk into a space and not really know what you were getting into.
I mean, I think a lot of people might point to someone I think is kind of overrated, but Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
I
was a huge Kaufman fan. Kid. Yeah.
Kaufman, he broke the rules, he broke the barriers, and yet that's sort of sometimes an excuse for not being funny enough. It's like, oh, it's weird. It doesn't have to be funny. It's just.
I agree. I agree that he could be really hit or miss, and he had the benefit of this save his Elvis impersonation.
Right. Yeah.
So he could bomb at Catch a Rising Star and then just pull out his Elvis and
he pulls out his Elvis and public should be arrested. But you know what I'm saying. I think you don't. But so, by the way, you have still, even though you've been doing Complete Performer, you wrote a play just a couple of years ago called Ace.
Yeah.
What's happening with, did anything, I think you did it off Broadway, anything happening with that?
It had a 6-week run, and that's what it was meant to have.
Okay. What was it about? What was it?
It was about, it was a solo show about a father-son relationship.
Autobiographical or?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. There's a little autobiographical.
But you're not playing you. It was you playing a character based on you.
It was very autobiographical, but it was me playing a character. I mean,
What was your relationship with your papa?
He was a very domineering character, and he was both domineering and extremely admirable and hilarious.
Oh.
You might appreciate this. He was extremely philanthropic and a Zionist.
Yes.
And in the Israel Museum in Jerusalem, he donated the bathrooms, and there are urinals with plaques of his siblings' name above them. He felt bathrooms were really underrated in museums and was insistent. What is that? I'm having trouble reading that. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Wow, it's great how you can so conveniently pull that out.
Well, I do. I have an assistant, my darling, my lovely wife, Miriam Libby. We've been married we have 21 and a half beautiful children. Well, they're not all, some, there's inbreeding going on, but mostly they're kind of beautiful. But let me, do you have pictures? Did you actually go to Jerusalem and take pictures of the toilets with these plaques on them?
There are photos, yes. I'm not like you. I don't have them handy, and I don't have an assistant.
And this is a wonderful, fabulous. Thank you for sharing that. What do you think? Is your legacy going to be like saving some stupid kids from suicide, or is it going to be comedy? What do you think your legacy will be?
Oh, I don't know. I can't begin to think about legacy, Rabbi. I don't think it's my place to think about legacy.
Wow.
I hope my friends say nice things about me. That's my legacy.
I forgot to ask because actually Dave, the producer of this program, knew very tangentially, met a couple of times Larry Bud Millman, Calvert DeForest back in the day. Do you have any Calvert stories?
Wow. He was, I don't. He was sort of the darling of those two original writers who worked with him. I mean, the story. He was a hospital orderly.
Yeah. And he was trying also to be an actor. He was in some low budget stuff. And
he was a wannabe actor for sure.
Yeah. He actually like this is absolutely, I don't know if you probably know this, but he played the guy at the very end of A Streetcar Named Desire. He was in a production of the Tennessee Williams play where he plays a doctor who comes in to take Blanche off to the sanitarium.
Wow. And
she tells Larry Bud Meltwell, Calvert DeForest, I've always depended on the kindness of strangers. He gets that scene. Beyond comprehension, but he did that. True story. But what do you remember about Larry Bud?
Oh, I just remember him offering moist towelettes at the bus station, and really thinking that he was doing a good deed, like it was a mitzvah. I mean, that's what pops in the mind.
He really was that person that you saw. That was the beautiful part of him.
I think that's true. I mean, and he did have this ambitious streak. It's not as though he wasn't.
Okay.
An ambitious guy, but that's my memory of him at Port Authority, offering towelettes and really thinking that he was doing a good thing.
But that wasn't your sketch. Your sketch was with him was
no. I think that was a Joe Toplin, Sandy Frank idea, and there was a point in the show where Dave was getting a little irritated because he thought writers were leaning too heavily on Larry Bud, but it was so hard not to. I mean, he was there.
He was beautiful. It was a magnificent thing. If you've got a Rodin sculpture in the garden, you don't go poking around looking for a little Joan Moreau drawing. It's like, oh, let's look at this, But
he was a Rodin for sure.
Well, he was well molded at that point. It was he had two chips in it, and then he left it, and let's just leave the lump. Beautiful as it. Let me ask you: do you ever get together with those original writer folks
The people I stay in touch with, I mean, I know Max Pross really well. I'm friendly with him and his family, and his partner Tom Gamble I'm in touch with from time to time. Chris
Elliott?
Yeah, Chris Elliott I'm not in touch with, but he was writing for the show at that time as well, as was Matt Wickline, and Steve O'Donnell I bump into from time to time. But the person I'm most in touch, I mean, I talk to Yaz once a week because I'm in a card game with him, and Max Pross I talk to a lot.
So speaking of, you're in a card game with him and all.
Yeah.
How have you been? I haven't even asked this. How have you been handling COVID? You're in New York somewhere, like in Chelsea or something like that.
Yeah, I'm in the West Village, and it's a great place to be. There's a park nearby. I get out every day. I mean, it hasn't really changed my life that much.
Oh, good. So
Yeah.
I mean, so you get out with a mask and you walk around and you do your shopping.
Yeah.
But you get together for cards with your friends, or do you?
No, I mean, there's a card game on Zoom, which is not, like wearing a condom. It's not great.
It's not. I'm wearing one now. It's quite unpleasant. I'm wearing it for a week. The same. I should probably change that out. I want to know what goyim feel when they have smegma. So this is why I'm trying to this may be the only interview anyone has ever done where smegma has been mentioned twice in the same interview for no particular reason. I'm very proud of that. And so
what was that you brandished? Does it have an iced coffee? What is that?
No, you're Jewish. What do you think this is? What do you think my darling wife Miriam Libby made for me?
What hour of the day is this for you? Fill me in.
Well, I'm in Great Neck, New York.
Oh, you're on the East Coast?
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. We should get together for drinks. Notice the seltzer being poured into the glass.
Yeah.
With the chocolate and the milk, which makes it an...
Wow. Is that like an old-fashioned egg? Yeah, that's fantastic.
Boy, you're only called... You know what's called an egg cream? There's egg cream, goddammit. Oh,
yeah. Wow. Good for you.
Look at the foam. Look at the fizz.
Yeah.
And all the stirring and the chemical reactions going on in there. Oh, it's beautiful.
You do that from home. Good for you.
Oh, absolutely. What? I'm Jewish. I'm not going to pay $3 for a little spritz of seltzer and some milk. Boy, you're crazy. I wasn't on Wall Street for 10 years. My God. I started my school at a gas station, for crying out loud.
It's not easy to get an egg cream on the West Village. I would have to do that myself.
Well, you get a spritz of seltzer, a little either Fox's You Bet, which is very nice.
Yes.
Getting S-Quick is good. And then, and then what you do, everybody knows the secret to the egg cream, is you try it in different combinations, and you get it about half, and then you drink it all the way down, and you have to make another one immediately. You can't just make an egg cream. You have to sample it, and when you sample it, you drink half of it all right there. And then you have to make more. It's fantastic. It's a beautiful thing. Speaking of beautiful things, this is the one moment when I'm actually staring at my notes. You were you went to Harvard in your initial thing. We didn't even talk about this. You were a Harvard guy, yeah?
Yeah.
And you wrote for the Harvard Lampoon. Do you remember what you're most proud, your favorite thing that you wrote to the Lampoon, whether it was published or not?
Well, like the splashiest thing I did was when Yazbek and I were in high school, we made Charlie Manson trading cards, and then the Lampoon, format really lent itself to these trading cards because I remember this was like a $5,000 project where the cards were perforated in the Lampoon publication where you could punch them out. So it was really amazing at age 20 to have that sort of deployment of capital to make a comedy idea like Charlie Manson trading cards.
I mean,
So
it's
that's
just
what,
like you write a joke, the joke is told. It's like, oh, here's a joke idea. Let's spend $5,000 to make it literally happen in a magazine. Yeah.
it was incredible. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And this was when the Lampoon was still getting money from the National Lampoon, so they could afford it.
I mean, Harvard Lampoon was still getting money from
Yeah,
them.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So, do you think Harvard helped you on your way? I mean, you know, if you've gone to another college, do you think you would have had the breaks that you had?
I doubt it. I mean, had I not gone to Harvard, I wouldn't have known when to submit material to Letterman. Like I wouldn't have been notified. So the short answer to your question is, yeah, probably not. It was a huge.
Yes. Are you working on another? Because right now, obviously, you're not performing.
Yeah.
Each performer. What are you working on, if anything? Or are you just kind of cruising?
Yeah, I'm working on another solo show, another live solo show, which is, I guess, the stupidest thing in the world. It's just like who knows when there'll be another venue for me to do.
Well, no, the small theaters in 2021, they'll be opened up. You know, the Soho Playhouse will be.
I think you're right. Yeah, in some form. It's just hard to imagine that there won't be social distancing in indoor spaces for a long time. And you know, and the theater, I think it'll take a bunch of months for the theater to figure out how it's supposed to deal with this. I mean, for the show I'm doing now, we've kicked around ideas to do it outdoors. And if I had to do a show on June 6th, I would do it outdoors, and I would get a bunch of cab drivers to show up and seat people in the backs of cabs. And so the cabs would be like in a flower petal design, and I'd be in the middle of the street doing my show mic'd, and there'd be amplifiers in all the vehicles. So it would be like a drive-in show.
Your budget, how the hell would you manage that?
I would blow the money for one show, just to do it. Yeah, because I'm really itching to perform, and I'd also like to figure out a way to break through the morass of non-performance, and if it, you know, if it cost a couple of grand or $4 or $5 grand, I would do it.
But there's also, I mean, what about, and it's funny, when the COVID thing first started and the shutting in first started, people were like, oh God, there's no live shows, there's no concerts, there's no theater. And then it's like a trickle came through of people doing all their shows and readings and even performances on Zoom, right?
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh God damn it, not another Zoom show.
I know, that stuff really leaves me cold. And I'd like to figure out a way around that. And so it's still possible that on June 6th, I do this goofy outdoor show, and the audience is in the back of 10 or 12 cabs in front of the Soho Playhouse, and the street is closed off.
Now you must, if you still own a cab, you must still have a hack license, but you weren't driving, you haven't worked.
Yeah, no, I get a cab from another driver to do the show, but yes, I've maintained a hack license, and now I don't even have to anymore, because the Taxi and Limousine Commission rules have been so liberal that I think anybody can drive a cab if it's off duty. You just can't get there.
Yeah, and also I've got like $7 in my wallet. Can I buy your medallion?
Probably. Yeah. Yeah. No. I mean, I think you would have to pool with 3 or 4 other rabbis to make like $28, and then I think you could pull it off.
I could do it.
Yeah.
Because I've been practicing driving the mitzvah van, and you don't need anything for that. You can be a 12-year-old. Don't put you on that. You just go right down, the West Side Highway. We are finishing our wonderful chat here with Ted Greenberg. I've got 1 or 2 more quick questions for you, but before we do, we want to make sure that if you do a show on June 6th or maybe July 6th or whatever,
right.
How can people find out about it? You've got a website. Is it Ted Greenberg?
TheCompletePerformer.com is the easiest way. TheCompletePerformer.com.
With the Complete Performer. com. This gives a background on you and also...
Yeah, it tells the whole story. Yeah, and the great thing about the show, and your audience should know this, that every show does end with a cab ride home for an audience member.
It's very cool. In fact,
With me at the wheel.
Dave was wondering, because Dave went to your show many years ago, and he was there a good time, and he actually got picked to be the cab guy. Was it? Do you sometimes, because he was wondering, because he's a theater critic and he is not exactly a VIP under any circumstances, but was it a fair thing or was it literally?
Oh, it's completely on the level. It's the heart and soul of the show. I've gone deep into Queens, deep into Brooklyn. I mean, sometimes it adds 3 hours to my night. It is completely on the level.
Oh no, it felt on the level. We was just kind of wondering. He felt like, oh my God, was he intentionally picked, or was it completely random in the hat?
It was completely random. However, if I ever did try to fix it, I would fix it in his favor. However, it was completely random.
Do you drive to Borough Park?
Sure, happily.
Oh, there we go. This was good. This was good. Well,
especially if there's an egg cream at the end of the drive.
That's a deal. That is a deal. And he makes his with motor oil, so that really gives a good strong kick. Last question for Ted Greenberg. Are there any particular truisms for you in comedy? Are there any things that you're like, I can rely on this, or this is something we should all know about comedy?
The thing I think everybody should learn from Meryl Marco is that when you're a TV writer, write format more than jokes. I mean, her thing was that if you can come up with formats or rotatables, ideas that can be used again and again, you can get enormous mileage out of your efforts. That was a huge lesson for me when I was 23 years old.
Wow. I guess, like, if only I could come up with something like dynamite. That would,
Yeah, or like running over things with a steamroller, or
yes.
She was really, really smart about that.
You are really, really smart to be doing what you do, to have the wonderful life that you've had and are continuing to have. First of all, I wish you hunkering down and writing that new solo piece of yours. And I certainly wish that within the next few weeks, we get to see the complete performer again, whether it's outside somewhere or near the Soho Playhouse, or once again in the Soho Playhouse, or wherever you want to do it. Ted Greenberg, much health, much good luck, much continued success, and shalom to you.
Shalom to you. I love this. Thank you.
Bye-bye now. All right. This always gets weird here when I have to let you go, so I can.
Okay, I go. Bye-bye.
Shalom. Oh, look at the light, ladies and gentlemen. Ted Greenberg on the Dave's Gone By program. This is Rabbi Sal Solomon. Don't go away, because I'm gonna go away. But Dave Lefkowitz, the host and producer of the program, he's got so much, and Potato will be here too. He has so much to do for the rest of the program. Oh my God, he's got comedy. He's got the Greeley thing that he does, whatever the hell that is. He does a little poem about Colorado. I don't know why. He tells a really bad pun. I don't know why he does that either. He talks about Broadway. He has it's going to be a fantastic program. So let's listen to a little of Ted Greenberg live while we bring Dave himself into the Daverhood. Shalom. Feel well.
Please welcome to the stage, Ted Greenberg.
Some improvisation. You guys ever see this before? You guys are going to throw out suggestions. I'm going to do comedy completely unscripted. It's mind-blowing. Let's get started with the suggestion of a sport. Anybody, let's hear a sport. Baseball. Baseball, right there. Baseball, I need more. Player or team. Something more. Wait up. From the baseball man. What do you got? Thurman Munson, the baseball player. Nicely done. That's what I'm talking about. Thurman Munson. I'm drawing a blank on Thurman Munson. That was awesome. What's that? All right, A-Rod is a baseball player. I think we've covered baseball. Fresh topic. Wait a minute, how about office supply? Something to find in an office. Well, I'm hearing stapler from a lot of people. Did you say staplers when you need the staple? Right there, Staples. Staples is not going to work. Not a value judgment, Staples. It's just wrong.
Everything's right here on the Dave's Gone By radio program. God, I called it a radio program. It hasn't been that in about 3-4 years now. It is a Facebookio, podcastio, programmio of the stream. My darling and adorable wife, Joyce, is here. Joyce, what?
Callum said shalom.
Oh, Bob, I'll say the last name is Robert Calum, who was in my high school, and shalom to you, Robert.
And cousin Cynthia said yesterday, today.
Yes, it's actually called Today Yesterday, but she's reading right to left in Hebrew,
Yes.
so there you go. But yes, our Today Yesterday quiz
She did use end punctuation.
Oh, this is, thank you so much, cousin Cynthia, and I hope you and Jeff and your son, who got over COVID a couple of weeks ago, I hope he's doing fine. In fact, he, a couple of weeks ago, he was back on the Long Island Railroad, apparently, as a conductor, so mazel tov on that. Anybody else, any other people write in?
Not yet.
Oh, I'm just talking into the wind here.
That was a great interview. What a really fascinating man.
What a life to him. The man goes from like
He hit
writing
the
on
90s,
Letterman.
doing suicide prevention.
doing so well. Yeah, I didn't hear the part where his mom, you know, that was, yeah. But that's why he got, because it was like, how do you, I thought he got suicidal after being canned by Letterman, but that wasn't the story at all.
How do you wrap your head around it?
Yeah, and then did all of that, and then goes back to being a performer, and has been doing that for a while, and just living life, living large. This is cool. I'm living small here in the Daverhood. My wife and I are still living in my parents' house in a room for the duration of this COVID, and for many weeks prior to the COVID, in fact. But one of the things that makes me happy, one of the things that brings me out of myself during the week is being able to do this program, Dave's Gone By. This is our 746th episode of the show. We are calling it TED Talk. Get it? Because you just had Ted Greenberg talking with Rabbi Solomon. It's about 7 minutes till the 10 o'clock hour Eastern time here in the Daverhood. The Daverhood, a mix of humor and talking, interviews and crazy stuff. For example, as Rabbi Sol was saying, just to end that segment, we've got Greeley crimes and old times coming up. We've got weird things that happen in Greeley, Colorado, where my wife and I were living for a while. We go inside Broadway for theater news. Now, theater is not going to be happening for a while, but there's still stuff to talk about Broadway, and we'll do that in that segment. We'll also get weird again with our Wretched pun of destiny, and the pun is going to take place in India today, so stay tuned for that. Also, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we will be going to Crystola, Colorado. I know you never heard of it, but there's a place called Crystola, Colorado, and we will have a poem about it. We will also have, if there's time, I'm going to bring back Dave's Big Dictionary. It's probably been at least a year since we've done
that in a long time.
We'll have to grab a dictionary, yeah. And what else? Oh, and our Today Yesterday quiz, which is a trivia quiz about things that happened on this date, May 16th, in history. So you don't want to miss. We're here from 9 until noon or thereabouts every Saturday morning. Want to always thank Hewlett Minuteman Press, our sponsors. Now, Hewlett Minuteman have been the copy kings of Broadway in Hewlett, Long Island since the mid-1970s. The Toron family has owned and operated this franchise of Minuteman, and they are the people that you want to use for all your copying, your printing jobs, plus jobs beyond that, like business cards, sending out wedding invitations. And a lot of what they're doing now involves embossing and putting logos and detailed stuff on
You know
uniform.
what they should do?
Yeah.
They should, if they made masks, like masks with logos, that would be brilliant.
I wouldn't be surprised because they're always very charitable and they're always very involved with like the
Every
local
first
fire
responder,
department.
first responder.
I wouldn't be surprised if you let Minutemen. I don't know if they are. It would actually be really easy for them if you think about it. They put one mask on a Xerox machine. They hit 100.
That would be easy.
100 masks, right?
Yes.
I wonder, can they make those on 3D printers?
No, it would be all ouchy. You need cloth.
Oh well, it was an idea. Anywho, but you let Minuteman Press, give them a call, 516-569-5577.
What should we call them?
When they're open, they're not open on weekends, but they, what?
Somebody shared a picture saying COVID testing in the rear, and they said, that's not what they told me on TV. Look.
Joyce is sharing, there's an image of a traffic cone with a sign on it in the parking lot, COVID testing in the rear. We know what they think. Well, I hope that's what they mean. Maybe it's more accurate done that way. I think they could do it on the forehead. But 516-569-5577, area code 516-569-5577. And if you tell them Dave sent you, you get 10% off any job, big or small. So do give them a call, 516-569-5577. What about social distancing? You won't be arrested, and I won't be surprised. I know Governor Cuomo just put New York on pause through mid-June now. But Minuteman Press is open. Huh?
Can we call him?
What can we call him? Artemis? Oh, Joyce is saying, let's call Governor Andrew Cuomo Mr.
I suggested.
She's suggesting calling him Mr. Hard Nipples. Apparently that's a thing because all the women love him. And he's been wearing these shirts apparently that show him having rather prominent pokey nipples. Is that the deal? I don't know. I don't know either. I'm not looking at Governor Cuomo's pokey nipples. It's not. It wouldn't be something that interests me in the least. You know, even if I were not heterosexual, I don't know if I would be gravitating towards Governor Cuomo's pokey nipples.
Sounds like, isn't that a children's book?
Not the pokey little nipple governor. Although it might be helpful, we had to go and go online and buy a can opener because I cannot work my parents' can opener. It's this electric thing. The thing, nothing will hold it. There's no. I hurt my thumb trying to use it, so I'm like, I'm gonna bite the bullet. I'm gonna buy my own damn can opener. But if Governor Cuomo's nipples are that pointy, I wonder if you went up during one of his press conferences, after they relaxed the social distancing thing so that you can get closer than 6 feet, and you went up to one of his nipples, if you could open like a can of soup with them. I don't know if I want to eat that can of soup, but just for can it be done? Can it be a Guinness Book of World Records thing? I wonder. It's a thought. So how are you doing in this COVID time, my darling?
I'm getting house fever. I'm ready to flee the coop. Yes, 8 weeks, David. 8 weeks living in the same thing, not going nowhere.
Nowhere to go. Well,
nowhere.
Restaurants.
Nowhere to go.
Well,
I want to be sedated.
Well, here's the deal, though. This is the continuing saga. This is the most important thing. Well, that's not open yet. That's a little in-joke for us living here. But I've been telling the story the last couple of weeks of the highs and lows that I have been experiencing in terms of our local Chinese restaurants.
It's like a segment.
It really is.
When foods rush in.
Yeah. And well, here's the deal. I mean, it's sort of like when this first started, when the home distancing, what is it called? Self-quarantining started for all of us everywhere, but especially in New York. It was kind of, I was doing still the shopping. I walk over a couple of blocks to our local supermarket. And what a joy it was with everything so terrifying, especially in that first week or two. And everybody worried that we're all going to get it or every other person was going to get it. And the one thing was I would pass by our local Chinese restaurant on the way to the supermarket and they were cooking and there would be smells coming in.
They had ambiguous signage too for a while, didn't they?
Well, that came later. So the Chinese restaurant was open. You couldn't go in and eat, but you could pick up food. And even if you weren't, you would pass by and smell the Chinese soy saucy, Wuhan-y food smells. It was a beautiful thing. And then, unlike the pizza place next door, the Chinese place closed down because everybody was afraid of the Chinese and assumed that they all started and had COVID. And then 3 weeks later, the signs started popping up. Every time I would go shopping, I passed the Chinese place and there'd be a different sign up. So one was like closed for until further notice. Then it was like coming back soon, back May 9 or whatever. And I was excited. And then I came back the next day and went, oh, May 15. And then the greatest sign I've ever seen, May 15, we back. With the, who cares about grammar when you see that on a Chinese restaurant? It's like, May 15.
You were so excited.
We back.
You were so excited.
Because I love Chinese food, and it was this sense of things are gonna get back to normal. They're opening this. I mean, granted, some restaurants, the Italian place never closed. The supermarket had different hours and some empty shelves, but it never closed. But other than, the liquor store was open weird times. Not that I went in there, but at least it was open. And at the nail salon, other things, nearby coffee shop, no. And then,
well, some of our local businesses just changed hands. I wonder if they're going to make it.
Oh, exactly. I doubt we're going to lose businesses that are just not going to survive this. But then
your eyebrow threading place,
and my anal hair bleaching place. I'm very glad I went the day before the quarantine, and you can see the roots. You've seen.
I'm going to be ill.
Every time I laugh, the whole computer shakes. I got to find a better, steadier thing for this.
Happy and bursting with love.
So, but the thing is, it went from May 15, we back, to actually definitely back May 9. And earlier this week, I picked up food.
Was it true?
From the Chinese restaurant. They were open. I got soup.
And it was the same people, right?
Same people, yeah. I mean, a couple of them had died from COVID, but the others.
The problem was we ate so much food. I think we just gorged. It was not how it was not.
Well, one of the soups was terrific. They also did a miso soup that was way too salty, but I'm going to return it. It was good. And then some of the food was great. I was very disappointed in their boneless ribs, unfortunately.
Really? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. What was it? It was mediocre and not great portion.
Was it the
which
flavor
is the Jewish
or
thing.
the size?
The size.
Oh,
and
sorry.
it was tasty, but a little gristly and not their best. And I'm wondering if they were being a little stingy because they need to save money.
Yeah. It's like this. It's like, let's say you remember Jan's ice cream parlor. People would say, "Oh, it's the best ice cream." People, you put it on such a high pedestal. Nothing could compare to it.
No. There's a place about half a mile away, closer to where I work, that does the best ones. They always, that's not the best thing that this local Chinese place does.
There you go.
But it was just the idea of having our local place that we used to go. It was a couple of blocks from the house, and they're back. Again, you can't go sit there and eat, but you can pick up food and they're open, right? And they were doing business, which is fantastic. So that was a great feeling. That's the latest. The Chinese restaurant is open. So Dave is not being suicidal this week. Dave got his
as long as you know you can get some mugu gai pan, you're not.
I don't need Elaril. I don't need Prozac. I just need dumplings.
You just need a sign from the Chinese people that says "We back," and you're
that's it. Just promise that you'll be back, and that will keep me alive.
It gave
for
you
week.
hope. It kept you through some dark moments.
Oh, it sure did. It sure did.
Beautiful.
So what else about the COVID?
Oh, you wanted to talk about the guy, the Teamster in the supermarket.
Oh, well, was that this week or was that like a week ago? Yeah. Well, no, there's this one guy, and I saw him twice.
Oh, really?
I saw this guy twice. One time in the parking lot, and then another time I was there. Literally, just by sheer random, he's there when I was there. And, I
think he's stalking you.
Maybe. And he's stalking me without a mask. Right? And I'm like, what the? And he's this big hulking guy, so you're not going to mess with him.
Yeah.
But he's just like, comes up behind while I'm the checking stuff out.
Yeah.
No mask. not even an attempt.
Should he have a beard that he could pull over his mouth and nose?
No, he was like a bullheaded, not Marine type, or maybe he was a Marine 30 years ago or something like that. But just like
David, listen, we both were Marines 30 years ago.
But no, this happened. Because people are on edge still. We go up and down. People start feeling relief and they're happier, and then you get days where it's just in the zeitgeist, it's in the ozone, and people are feeling antsy and ugly and not happy. So I was in the supermarket earlier this week, or maybe it was late last week, in like the bread and milky kind of aisle. And I hear
in the bread and milk aisle
from a guy near me.
David, that's where the stuff goes down. If you're in a soup, remember the one lady was, so I was like coming out of the bread aisle near the one aisle, and she said, during Thanksgiving, she said, "That's my sister. She won't let me pay for my turkey. It's for Thanksgiving." I said, "Listen, you know how sisters are, except the turkey. She won't let me buy my own turkey." She was expressing this to me and showing me her cart where her sister was pointing to the turkey that her sister was buying. I don't know. In the bread aisle, the bread aisle is where you finally make it to the bread aisle and you just lose your marbles.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I know how sisters are. Let her pay for the bird. Move on. She's like, I ain't thinking. I can't even. I was like, okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Go talk to customer service. They like to talk about the turkey.
No, but I thought I was receiving a compliment because I hear near me this guy going, "Well, nice mask."
Yeah.
And I do have a nice mask because our friend
Mark Lefkowitz said, "Good morning, cuz. Wish well, and Shabbat Shalom to your family."
Well, Shabbat Shalom, cuz Mark. I hope he stays for the Today Yesterday quiz. That'd be great. So, a friend of ours back from Colorado sent us. Thank you. Sent us these masks that she had made from cloth and like pipe cleaner, and they've been great. They've been they're literally the pipe cleaner is what she used for the foundation.
Oh, you're drooling. COVID.
And so I've been wearing them. I've been wearing them every day when I go out.
I have to do this. I have to do this one.
Oh. What is the purpose of that?
Sanitization. It's just water.
Yeah.
You're sanitized. There you go.
I'm hysterical and I'm wet. That's what she said. No, but anyway.
Oh, you got a bunch of ha-has.
Thank you. So she makes these masks for us. I'm wearing them. So I'm thinking, because it's this pretty, it's like this red material.
It's very, almost like a tie-dye. It's got a very nice vibe.
We're very grateful to her. Thank you, Katie, for making those. And I've been wearing it.
She's a human doll. She's an angel.
So I wanted to but the voice had an edge to it when he said, "Nice mask." So I was really like, okay. I said, "Thank you." And I realized immediately this guy was not talking to me. He was calling down the end of the checkout, because the checkout, there was one line at that point of everybody going to different registers. And so he was calling out to some guy further up in the line who apparently was not wearing a mask. And rather, trying to shame the guy, which I guess is what you're supposed to do, by saying, "Hey, nice mask." But of course, he didn't leave it at that.
What did he say?
It was, I've used expletives on this show many times.
You said expletive?
Oh, hell yeah. So, everybody else is there, but you fucking ass. So it was like,
you know what they have to get? So in that grocery store, there's the manager. She's like badass. She'd come out there and she would like take that sticker gun that they put prices on and start whacking him with the sticker.
Wait, the guy without the mask or the guy pulling him out?
She'd be like, boop, 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 one in each hand. She would be like,
but I really thought if they had been closer together,
there would have been a fight.
But they were on different points of the line.
You don't know what happened. So we parked away behind a bank. Yeah. Who knows what they did in the parking lot? Yeah. Remember in school when people would threaten you, they call you out to the park. That's where the joy happens.
But I think the guy put a mask on. I think he was either shamed or threatened into having a mask, which is good. If everybody else, it probably is really pointless and not saving that many lives.
Oh, that's not true.
Really?
Yes.
You really think that? One of the other things I wanted to talk about was like South Dakota.
Oh God.
We almost moved to North Dakota a decade ago. But remember South Dakota like 3 weeks ago? South Dakota, the governor, presumably an idiot, said this is ridiculous that we're following the same rules as like New York and California. We're gonna reopen. We're not gonna do this. Okay, we're going to reopen the state and get business going and stuff. And all the people on the coast and all us kind of left-wingy kind of people said, how stupid this is. We're in the middle of a pandemic that's killing people. I mean, I know someone who died. I certainly know people who have suffered with it very badly. It's not some government hoax or anything. It's real. But South Dakota is saying, yes, we're going to take the risk that some lives will be lost, and then we'll have a rise in incidences for sure. But at the same time, is the cure worse than the disease? Is shutting down the state for a month and a half or 2 months really, really that much better idea than opening things up and losing a few more people? So this went on 3 weeks ago, and everybody said, oh my God, South Dakota, all the South Dakotans are going to die. It's going to be horrible there. Don't breathe on anything over there. So what has happened in South Dakota? Nothing. They had a minor spike in, I don't even know, they still have had fewer than 50 people in South Dakota die of COVID. And they had a tiny spike on over towards like the east areas.
But the thing is, David, you don't know
what
happens in the beginning of the pandemic or when it spreads. People aren't getting tested, so you don't know. And also, if people are infected and they don't do contact tracing, they're spreading it. So those 50 people could infect another 150.
But where are they? How come they're not die? How come they're not
Probably the only difference that I see is that places that are more rural or more frontier, or to have less density, like population density, like New York is at risk because people are living in apartment buildings. They're 20 stories and 9 apartments.
Right. Fair
so
enough.
there's less
But
density.
should South Dakota have the same rules as in New York? Montana has no problem.
If not, then you wear a mask and you still mask up when going out.
Okay. All right. But it's different to say mask up and wear a mask when you're at work. Wear your mask when you go shopping. Wear your mask even when you're in, let's say, the park and you're near people or at the beach, which is very different from saying, don't go to work, don't open your store, don't go to the park, don't take a bike ride, don't do this, don't do that. I think maybe, again, not in New York City, maybe not in congested Chicago or maybe New Orleans.
It's a tough one.
It is tough, but I also think it's not one big fix-it solution, and I kind of wonder, because nobody's talking about that. Nobody's saying, oh, South Dakota, they chose this path, and they're doing perfectly okay.
Yeah, but you don't know for a while. You can't just assume.
Well, it's been a couple of weeks. Is that not enough?
No.
We know that over the past couple of weeks, the curve has been going down all over America.
I don't think it's.
And it will continue to go. And I'll tell you this right now. It's what the CDC has been saying. It's going to mutate. It's going to get weaker and weaker. It's going to essentially go away. And then we'll have a spike in October. It will start going back up again because that's just what it's going to do, no matter what we do. And at that point, we got to be much more careful again and maybe hunker down. But whether we hunker down between now and September or not, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference.
I believe you're wrong.
Okay.
Because if you have a virus that's spread through person-to-person contact of, sputum and mucus,
right,
and people are together in a close environment, or they're sitting in air conditioning where it's recycling. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a risk. I think why not? It's hard for everybody, but why not err on the side of caution?
Well, we have been for 2 months now.
Not everybody, I'm sure.
And isn't erring on the side of caution just wearing a mask when you're working or going to, again, okay, I won't put people necessarily in a Broadway theater yet, or even an outdoor sports stadium. Unless, well, you know what, even an outdoor stadium, if you can somehow space them coming into the place, and maybe keep people 3 seats apart, if you can.
No, but sneezing, coughing. How could people enjoy a show when they're terrified that people are going to infect them with COVID?
Well,
that's like a horrible way to relax. Theater is an art form, and they're
it's just really funny because I went to the theater on March 9th or 10th or something, like 3-4 days before the shutdown on Broadway happened, and then the New York shutdown happened. And I remember sitting there with my friend Jeff and looking behind us and seeing 2 Asian women with masks on. And I was thinking, oh, come on. Come on. And they knew.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was an Asian thing because those people are used to wearing masks in the middle of China because of all the pollution.
Yeah.
They live in masks. Their factories have been spewing God knows what into the atmosphere. They all wear masks.
I know.
I thought it was just a Chinese thing, you know? Anyway. I don't know. And what do you think about fall for, I mean, you're a professor. What do you think colleges should do?
You know, I feel like, I don't know. I think this is the, so if I was an administrator, they would be like, well, the students want to report back. They don't want online learning. They don't like it. Therefore, we need to go back. But you have a lot of faculty and you have a lot of students that have families and people that are very high risk. So I think you need to offer, and what I would do is offer faculty the option and say, do you want, if people, we have some people who are like dead set about, going online, but I would say you have the option that, if you, because they could use the pandemic unemployment insurance and say, I have somebody at risk at home, hold my job, furlough, and I'm going to get unemployment insurance. But if they want to work, I would say, give people an option. They could report to duty and work in person, but you'd have to clean the air conditioning, separate people, make the conditions safe. If I was a lawyer, I'd worry about lawsuits because you can spread in a classroom, or if the kids go back to the dorm, forget it.
The dorms.
And the dining hall, you know how the kids are. The students are all over each other. They're not going to isolate, right? So in California, and then when they're on campus, some of the kids don't have cars, they carpool, there's a lot of close contact. And what you're doing then is bringing a whole bunch of people into a place where if you have multiple people infected, it's going to roll, and how are you going to, it's like the picture you showed me, right, in China of all the young students wearing the masks and stuff. Yeah. How are you going to make sure that everybody's doing it all the time? You're not going to have the campus police chasing down everything, I think. And they have house parties. Our friend, look at our friend. She lives across from a party house. Every time I go visit her, you probably didn't see it. There are 50 kids playing
probably
beer
close
pong.
to fraternities.
No, it wasn't. They're not fraternities. They're just the kids rent a house.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
10 people live there. You're putting stuff into your own drink.
Yeah.
They invite 50 or 100 people, and the whole street, it's like a block party, and it's like the kids having a party in their house playing table tennis, beer pong. It's I personally, in my limited ability of thinking, could not imagine enforcing social distance in a residential campus and then doing it in a classroom. I don't know. And then what happens if I have students who have severe illness, who had immunocompromised. How are they going to, if a student's supposed to take a class and it's only offered in person and they're immunocompromised, you're still going to have to give them an online option because they cannot go into class.
Absolutely.
So
Well, then do you think all universities should be online in the fall?
For me, if I was the czar of education, I'd say, look, if we're doing it with the little kids, let's do it with the big kids, right?
Well, the little kid, that's the one scary thing is what the hell is this? Because the whole idea is that COVID is mutating, it's getting weaker, people aren't getting as sick, not as many hospitals, not as many deaths. Yeah. And then you have, out of nowhere, these children who are getting this weird version.
Oh, Cynthia said try it with 4-year-olds in pre-K.
I tried it with 4-year-olds in pre-K and I was
arrested. Messy. It's tough.
No, but you've got that inflammation disease that these children are dying from.
Yeah, look,
that's a weird.
When we first had HIV, right? We didn't.
Thank God.
But because I worked with HIV, so people didn't understand it, right? Viruses are complex. They mutate and they find a host, and they just and they live, right? It's host pathogen. So I don't know. I understand there are many motives operating in the educational system.
Of course.
But for me, if I was the president of anything, of a university or something, or college, I would say, look, this is what we're going to do. And for those people who need to teach a course online, let's get you set up in the lab alone, just the instructor, and maybe a lab assistant who's 6 feet away. Yeah. We got the technology. We could Zoom. We could camera you in, whatever you need, and we'll figure out a way to work this out. There are nursing universities for doctoral nurses that are completely online. So
I wouldn't trust those people coming out of college.
But right now I would say alter their programs of study. let them do stuff online. Let people do their LACs, their core courses online.
Oh, yeah.
We've gotta
But
figure
what
out.
if you got a nurse in the fourth
Yeah.
year
Yeah,
of
and
nursing
this is
school, and then they're going to spend a year not touching a human arm or you know, a human anus for that matter.
I have many students that just had completed clinical degrees and got into master's programs. I don't know what they're doing in a clinical master's program. So
they're driving a virtual taxi cab.
I know. Cynthia said little ones won't wash their hands all the time. They won't stop hugging everyone and putting things in their mouth and sharing.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You know, you're going to tell a 5-year-old not to touch your mouth.
I know.
Not to. I mean, I remember I had surgery on my lip.
Yeah.
When I don't remember. I was probably 11 or 12 or something like that. And it's sort of like, you know, the one thing you're told not to touch, the one thing you're told not to go near. And it was like, let it alone, leave it alone. But I was so, and I had all this dry blood and crusty stuff in my nose. And at a certain point, it's just like, you know, I got a little beryllium and I'm like, you know, I'm not supposed to touch
Remember
the
your
thing.
friend's baby? So the friend's baby was like 1 or 2 and she got stung by a bee.
Oh.
And then the father called me and said, oh, it's really bad, but I know that sometimes he exaggerates. And then I went over there and I looked at her leg.
It was
and
a spider, I think. It wasn't
a spider or
something.
And she had those baby nails, you know, those long, sharp baby nails. And she had like scratched the whole part of her leg where the spider bit her, and it was infected. It was a secondary like bacterial infection. So then we had to take her to the ER, right? So like things are messy. Yeah, it's super messy.
Well, but the one thing is, I'm proposing a new holiday.
Uh-oh.
You know, not today, but I think it's because Joyce and I saw or watched, because we have nothing else to do. We've been watching, you know, binging on Netflix, of course.
Oh, no.
And they had a documentary about Miles Davis. No, you won't know why Joyce is laughing.
How do you segue from COVID to Miles
Because
Davis?
I can. Well, because he had every disease but COVID.
And he had the heroin disease.
Yeah.
Didn't he do heroin and cocaine?
Yeah, he did everything. He was a heroin addict and then a coke fiend, and then just a jerk all around.
But he couldn't read music. I thought that was interesting. Right?
No, you don't have to. I mean, quite honestly, you could boil down the best of Miles Davis into a disc and a half, and that'd be fine.
Or Herbie Hancock.
All the rest
Herbie
is
Hancock.
Hancock. I don't like much jazz post 1940. Well, you know, Davis was important, no question. He had some great stuff. There's some really nice stuff on Sketches of Spain and That Kind of Blue. What's the other one? The one with Shish Peaceful. Anyway, there's some really good Miles Davis stuff. The rest could totally take or leave. And honestly, when you get to a point past bebop into hard bebop, how do you even know if it's good? If the guy just I mean, you can't tell unless you're Phil Schaap or some kind of jazz aficionado,
no, but
whether it's really great or not.
But toward the end, his band would play over him.
Yeah, of course, they're just drowning him out. But I get the importance, and I get he had a really interesting life, and I get he was terrible to women because he was on drugs half the time, and so forth.
Yeah, but even Elvis. I mean, Elvis married children, so like it's not like like he's the only music. Look at Hendrix, look at Morrison, look at the Beatles, right? Everyone did drugs. Everyone had.
Yeah, but they didn't beat their women.
How do you know?
Well, apparently Bob Dylan had in the divorce statement with Sarah, had him write that they beat her or something like, or smacked her at one point.
He just tortured.
I don't know if he actually did.
He just tortured her with this American songbook. I'm gonna sing Snowbird. Let me sing a song for you, honey. And I think she then put her head in the oven. She was trying to escape.
Yeah. You want to fight with me? You want to fight with me tonight? All right, I warned you. Here we go. Yankee Doodle went to town, riding on a. Oh, this is gonna be a big fight. Sometimes I wonder why I spend the lonely nights.
Poor Bob.
That sounds more like Arlo Guthrie. But
I'm putting a picture of someone singing in their shower.
But here's the deal. Here's the deal with Miles Davis. The thing, yes, he had some tragedy in his life, and yes, he was beaten by those cops, and that really messed him up. But
oh yes,
and he
good point.
Had that, and that's also what brought me to this because he had surgery for it was either a cancer or
it was his hip too. Didn't do it. Oh, that's what made his throat.
Yeah, but and for a week he didn't speak, he didn't play an instrument. He was really, really good. And then by the 8th day, he was told to take like 10 to 14 days completely quiet and off for his throat to recuperate. So for a week he was great, and then on the 8th day he couldn't help himself. He was like the child. He couldn't stop, and he couldn't stop talking. And then it turned his voice into a rasp that he had for the rest of his life. And also he had this bitter, hardened attitude against white America and the way it was racist here. So
because he went to Paris and he was accepted.
Yeah.
I think the difference is he saw like other places. It's like, a lot of the singers and actors and, performers were well accepted in high
you
society.
could be black in Paris and people would see beyond it.
Talent is talent. And then now you come back to your own country and you're treated even like soldiers. A lot of soldiers did well other places, right? And then they came back, if they were, black or Latinx, and then they came back to the U.S. and they were experienced, a lot of racism.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like, I can understand.
It's like Vietnam vets who should have come back as heroes and did it. But the thing about Davis is, for no particular reason, I remember when we had Richard Davis, the bass player, on the program about 2 or 3 years ago. And he worked with Van Morrison. He was on the Astral Weeks album. He also worked with Miles Davis and other jazz musicians, and would tell stories about Miles Davis. And this is obviously so true. He basically, every sentence that he used when he was talking about someone, he would call them MF. That was his thing. So I am proposing to make life a little more fun. At some point in June, or maybe on whenever Miles Davis's birthday is, we just make America talk like Miles Davis Day.
No.
And we just have a day where everybody talks to each other like,
no way.
Like, yeah. Because he was also like strung out on heroin half the time. So I was like, I'm going to go see my aunt.
No, he'd be like, can I have a pound of salami?
Motherfucker. Everything was
he'd be
motherfucker.
Like, hi, Mom, how you doing?
Motherfucker. I think all of America should talk like this. It's like, I was watching Governor Cuomo on television, man, and he got some serious nipples on that motherfucker.
I don't think that would fly.
You know that? Can you try it? Can we have a conversation?
I won't do it.
Well, try this at home so that we can get comfortable doing this. Just refer to everyone and talk to everyone in preparation for Talk Like Miles Davis Day. Just
I don't think that would be something to do.
Raspy, sort of way. Right? And when you talk about somebody, just say, oh, I remember that motherfucker. Let's try that, shall we? Let's try a little bit of that today. By the way, this motherfucker is Dave of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the Stream. I want to remind you that, well, we've already had Rabbi Solomon on the show. He's talking to Ted Greenberg. That's a funny motherfucker right there. Yeah. And later on in the show, we're going to Greeley, Colorado for some news of it. There's like a crazy motherfuckers in that town. Yeah, got them all there.
That's nice.
And then inside Broadway, there's some Broadway people who died this past week. There's some dead motherfuckers. And then, yeah, but see, if this were like the early days of Dave's Gone By when I was trying everything like they did on Letterman and upstairs, I would do the whole show. Like talking like Miles Davis Day. It would be. It would be
very hard to keep up. Yeah, that's a hard one to do.
We also have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned coming up, our Wretched Pun of Destiny. We've got our Today, Yesterday quiz about things that happened in history on May 16th. And I think that's quite enough already. Maybe we'll do Dave's Big Dictionary. Maybe not, because it's already 10:30 in the morning Eastern time here in the Daverhood. Shall we do our Greeley Crimes and Old Time?
I don't have all of my stuff.
Oh, well, I can give you one. I don't know what happened to that. I brought them in.
I think you probably made the thing. I think you're sitting on my phone too.
Oh, maybe.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Mm.
It's fine. Don't worry.
Well, you've got this one.
Okay,
we can do this one, and that'll work. And you can even use this prop, because I am a prop.
No, you use that one. I'll use this.
Okay. Greeley Crimes of Old Times has to do with a column, or two different columns. In the newspaper where Joyce and I were living in Greeley, Colorado, and one of the things that they had was one column.
Oh,
What?
Ezra Tamar said, "Greetings, Davy."
Oh, hello, Ezra Tamara. I knew Ezra yesterday, but...
Oh, and then Richard Skipper said, "Happy Saturday, exclamation point, hashtag stay home."
I am staying home. Tell that motherfucker that I am home. And that I hope he gets to be off Broadway and doing his cabaret thing real soon. Just stay away from the white peoples. But yeah. Anyway, so one column in the Greeley Tribune has to do with phone calls that come into the Greeley-Weld County Police Department, their public record. And
That's all I got.
it's the only thing you can find on there.
I know which one that is. Oh, I know which one that is. Okay.
And then the other
like,
is,
what sound could that be?
we can't even do this one right now because the Greeley Tribune has furloughed people, laid people off. Among them, our friend of the Daverhood, Mike Pierce. Mike Pierce he's been with the Greeley Tribune since before.
He's
I was
awesome.
born, man.
He's awesome.
He is an awesome motherfucker. But he been doing this column called 100 Years Ago. In you go and read a newspaper, Greeley, and shit that happened 100 years ago, and they put that in the newspaper. Funny, they're funny shit. But he laid off. He out working there right now, so we can't do that shit. Anywho, is Greeley crime, motherfucking time. Yeah, Greeley crimes, old times here on the Day Has Gone By Facebook, your podcast, your program, of the stream. And so, yeah, the nice thing is that we still have the Greeley crimes, portion of the segment to do for you, because that is still being published once a week in the Greeley Tribune. Are you ready for some crimes, my darling?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and a big thank you, not a personal one, but thank you to Trevor Reed, a writer for the Greeley Tribune, for doing this every week and keeping this column going. Okay, a caller.
What can I do?
Reported an unwanted party at a gas station on 8th Avenue. I know they were having parties at gas stations.
That's weird.
Yeah. I guess.
That's the party.
Well, I'll tell you something. If you have a party at a gas station, you better arrive oily.
I just hope you leave and you don't get and you remain unleaded.
Ooh. Yeah. Although I'll tell you, all the women who go to that party, they get pumped. But you know,
that's disgusting.
I know it is. I know.
But will they get their headlights and windows clean?
You know, anybody who goes to a party like that is easily led. An elderly woman with a walker was yelling and screaming at the customers. See, it wasn't an actual party. When they say party, it was what they were saying was someone at the gas station.
Yeah.
Was not there getting gas. She was just an elderly woman with a walker who was yelling and screaming at customers.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I'm a gerontologist. I love me my old people. You get a woman with the walker in a gas station, that could be a party.
You know?
I think there could be a good party going on there.
That's true.
Put on some Spotify, you got stream some music, and you got a good time.
Let me tell you, I know that woman. I smacked up that bitch. She was a crazy motherfucker.
Please stop that. It's very horrible. It's horrible. It's just horrible.
It's I'm getting it to the Gilbert Gottfried point where, you know, it's really funny at first, then it becomes annoying, and then it becomes hysterical again. But right now, I'm in the trough of annoyingness.
I don't think it's annoying. I don't think it's...
You don't think it's annoying?
No, I do. I made a mistake. I can't speak English.
A caller.
Oh, hold on.
A caller
That's all I have. I'm
And those-
sorry.
right,
I'm
those are great.
improvising.
On 7th Avenue, reported that people were messing with her windows. I wonder if I mentioned this one. People were messing with her windows. She said she had smoked meth the night before. And was upset that the people upstairs were not getting high.
Yeah, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I lived next to a woman who was psychotic and tried to break into my home, remember? Like, honestly, like, people who do these kind of drugs, they need help. Because you cannot live in a community with people. Like, she probably thought people were, like, coming in her windows. You know, that's not good.
It's not good.
Not good.
That motherfucker should go
That
into
is not
a
good.
facility. You know what I'm saying?
That is not good.
Where's my cocaine? A caller on 8th Street reported a man in his 50s
Yeah.
was parked in the caller's parking spot and left when the caller's wife arrived home. This is good. The caller said that the suspicious man had not one, not two, but 3 teeth.
Oh, he must be that. Maybe that's one Joe from the Lion King. Well, no, not Lion King. What's it called?
The Tiger King.
Tiger King.
Joe
Exotic.
Yeah.
Maybe he's on furlough.
Maybe.
Got some teeth.
He got 3 teeth in that motherfucker's head. Oh, man. A caller.
Hold on.
See, that's going to get annoying soon, but it isn't yet. It's really
You
funny.
tell me, you
and then you
tell
have to
me.
keep doing it, and it's going to get
No.
really annoying, and then it's going to be funny again.
I don't want to offend our listeners.
What show are you
I
on?
know.
That's what we do every 3 seconds on this program. On 49th Avenue Place. It's not enough that they're on 49th Avenue. They're on 49th Avenue
They were
Place.
so much fun. They had to be there.
Reported that his neighbors have bees.
Oh, wait. Oh,
Do you have bee on there? Ooh. Wow. They're buzzing about, ladies and gentlemen. So the caller is saying that his neighbors have bees that have stung the caller's dogs and kept him from letting his kids. There's strange dogs right there. And the bees have also prevented him from letting his kids play outside. The caller said that he would purchase insecticide and contact his attorney. Well, because lawyers are said to be sons of bees.
Oh, God. Like, it's crazy. I would be scared too if I had kids playing out with bees. We have a beehive next door you're afraid of.
Yeah, but if you start calling lawyers and cops on something like this, you know what that turns into? I said, do you know what that turns into?
What does it turn into?
A sting operation. That one funny motherfucker.
Not so much. Not so much.
Moving on. Police responded to North 17th Avenue for a man. A man without shoes
Okay.
or pants. He was showing his tattoo. The man was lying in the grass and yelling at nobody.
Yeah, I do that.
Well, here's it. Do schizophrenics have to socially isolate from themselves?
David, no, that would be like a multiple.
I mean, if you have a multiple personality, you have to spend
I believe
6
so.
feet away from your other personality.
To be honest, like, we all have our forms of meditation.
Yeah, oh,
You know,
sure.
like maybe he was doing some deep,
I think I would prefer meditation if I could just lie on the grass and yell at
Scream.
nobody.
Isn't that like, what was the primal therapy people used to do? Remember shout therapy?
Arthur Janoff.
Yeah, like primal therapy where people
Yeah.
screamed and, did that kind of stuff. Yeah.
This is, actually, the rabbi does it all the time. All the rabbi does is primal screaming. Let's see. Let's do another Greeley crime. We don't have any old times, but we have some Greeley crimes.
It says 6 comments, but I only see 4. Okay,
Oh,
never
no.
mind.
Oh.
I can't.
Please retype your comments so we can see them, folks. I would love to.
I'm gonna refresh.
A caller on 8th Avenue. That's a fantastic sound, by the way.
I can't find your thing now.
A caller on 8th Avenue
Where's
reported
your thing?
I beg your pardon? I said I'm not going to show that on the air.
I can't find your. Oh man.
Well, the people
Your
chiming
show.
in.
I can't find it now.
Well, you can't find my show?
I messed it up.
Oh no! Well, I guess you can reload and find it. No big deal.
I did, but then I messed it up. I was watching.
A caller on 8th Avenue reported someone harassing her.
Oh damn it!
Well, now you see, you're not talking like Miles Davis. You talk like Rabbi
I'm trying to
Salde.
find the show. I messed it up.
She said it looked like someone was in her house because
Oh, what did I do?
I don't know what you do here.
I'm gonna go to your.
Just kill Chrome or whatever.
No, I'm
and
not
reload
doing it.
Facebook.
No, I'm going to your page.
Because you're not going to affect anything involving
I
this.
know that.
Yeah. That's Facebook, man. Facebook used to be good, and now that Zuckerberg motherfucker, you just ruined everything.
I'll go on your page. Let's see if I can see it.
There should be a Facebook with breakout rooms
Now I'm
just for
watching
heroin addicts. I don't even know what the hell I'm saying. Okay, here we go. A caller on 8th Avenue reported someone harassing her. Oh, she said that it looked like someone was in her house because the door hinges weren't on correctly
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the wall
Yeah.
had a different texture. Have you ever noticed the walls having a different texture?
If the walls have that texture, I think you're also experimenting with. You're doing like a Miles Davis with something.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
There's something going on, and it's a little cray cray.
I was feeling the wall one day. It felt like that thing out of HR Puff and stuff. I don't know what was going on there. And I've done some Puff and stuff. I love them. Who was HR Puff?
I don't know. I don't
Croft
watch. I never watched TV.
Sid
Croft.
and Marty Croft. That
Marty
was it.
Croft.
Oh, Sid and Marty, man. They were some Jewish motherfuckers. Anyway, let's go in our Greeley Crimes of Old Time segment. We also go elsewhere, and that is where we get one odd story during the week that isn't from Greeley, Colorado, isn't part of Greeley Crimes of Old Times, really. It's just a strange story from elsewhere, and I think you're going to love this one.
Okay.
We go all the way to Tokyo, Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be even, let's throw some racism into this too. To Tokyo, Japan, Yahoo News had this story, but this is really adorable. A Japanese aquarium that is closed during the coronavirus outbreak is asking people, I'm going to have you guess this. What do you think the Japanese aquarium people are asking people to do? What do you think they like to do? No, not that. What do you think?
Oh, probably to not eat sushi,
Oh, that's no.
to feed a fish, to save money for the whale, to
No.
save money for the dolphins.
It doesn't involve a quack. What?
It's probably to watch the whale cam or the penguin cam or something, right?
Even more than that, but you're absolutely on the
Manatee?
right
They don't
track.
have manatees.
They don't have
What?
manatee, no.
Like the snow Basenji? I don't know. I don't know animals.
No, this is the most adorable thing ever.
Hold on.
The Japanese aquarium is asking people to make video calls to their eels. I will repeat that in a Lewis Black sort of a way.
Whatever.
They want people to make video calls to their eels.
So why do the eels need to be in contact? Do they have some social isolation problem?
Yes. Well, the thing is, this is
Oh God.
these sensitive eels
Yeah.
need to remember that humans exist and don't pose a threat.
Oh, so why not get put on a video?
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Mm-hmm.
See, the Sumida Aquarium, housed in the landmark Tokyo Sky Tree Tower, or as they would call it, the Tokyo Sky Tree Hour, has been closed since March. So the animals have gotten used to a very calm, human-free environment. And the aquarium.
So have I.
The garden eels, says the aquarium, disappear in the sand and they hide every time the keepers pass by. Could you show your face to our garden eels from your home. They're calling the event, quote, a face showing festival.
Whatever.
So here's the deal. On the calls, people are asked to show their faces, wave, and talk to the eels.
If I could talk
to the eelimals, but not shout. So don't shout at them and scare them. Have a gentle conversation.
So don't harass them.
Yeah, don't. Once the video calls start, people are supposed to show their faces, but given the tender nature of the animals, people are asked to be calm and not
somebody
shout.
monitoring what they say. They could do like Zoom bombing and show them porn.
Oh, what porn would you show an eel?
I don't know.
You might show like Long John Holmes. He's longer than you. What else would you possibly
I don't know if that's appropriate, really.
Oh, and a reader, because of that comments under this story on Yahoo News, and this is not, by the way, not our wretched pun of destiny. It's not even our weekly. Remember, we used to do a pun that would get the comedy keys going.
Oh yeah.
And the comedy bell.
Yeah.
No, this is a reader wrote in, and I quote: "I am not responsible for this. I promise you. I once saw a moray get knighted. It was surreal." Isn't that beautiful? Isn't it the most wonderful thing you've ever heard? No? That doesn't make you laugh in your soul?
It makes me sad.
Really?
I think a little. Some of my soul cells died during that.
Oh, Ely? I love this gig. Eel gig.
Are you losing your mind? You're losing your mind. I think you finally lost your mind.
It took 2 months being home.
You
isolated
finally lost your mind. You finally, completely, and utterly lost your mind.
Well, if those eels become famous and become movie stars, we'll all be singing "Moray for Hollywood." Da, 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 da. These jokes are just electric, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, let's do one more Greeley crime and then move on.
I think you're doing many crimes. Crimes against nature.
Many crimes. That's right, vocabulary. Many crimes. Here we go. A caller on 88th Avenue. It's almost like 8th and 8th. It's 88th Avenue Court.
Too many 8s.
Oh, it's not just 88th Avenue. It's 88th Avenue Court.
Oh, that's the fancier one, yeah.
Reported a suspicious vehicle parked outside with foggy windows.
Uh-oh.
A teenage girl later left the vehicle and took off running to a nearby house.
Yeah, I wonder what's going on there. I think that was a prayer circle.
Yeah, oh, really? You think?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm sure. Well, she's probably kneeling. I'll tell you that. Police are waiting 72 hours before touching anything in that car. Oh yeah, there's fluids in there. That girl. That girl. She was all right. I punched her a couple of times, just for fun. That girl, she was a sexy motherfucker.
Think about it, though. People want to meet and greet.
Well, they want to do more than meet and greet. If they're meeting in a vehicle like that, oh boy, am I going to be able to get? No, I'm not. All day.
Thank you very much.
I was trying to get my coffee, and people just saw my naked leg. This is
it. That's readership increased. Woo.
And no, I am not wearing pants, but I am wearing shorts. So
Cynthia Shub said, finally? I don't know what that's for.
I don't know.
I don't know what that's for.
Maybe I told her we're going to end this segment, and she said,
I don't
finally.
know. She said, finally.
Well, Cynthia, we are going to get to our Today, Yesterday quiz and also our Colorado Limerick.
They love that.
I love it too.
They like to play. They're winners.
So let's end our Greeley Crimes and Old Time segment the usual way.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
My cousin just said, I finally, I have lost my mind. Actually, anybody who knows me knows I lost it long time ago. Anyway, you are watching the Day of Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the Stream with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce. Potato is, of course, with us here. And who else? No.
You got a lot of likes and laughter. Me, Rodolfo, Billy Cote, and 3 others.
Oh, Billy Cote from Mataronis. Yay. Hello.
You got from Rodolfo,
Mhm.
from Denise, from Billy, Michael, and Lainey.
I got one from Denise, but did I get one from the nephew? I have lost my. I have truly.
I think you finally
I've
cracked.
lost the thread.
Yes.
I've cracked. I've totally
Yes.
cracked up. It's amazing. But you know what? I'm going to hold it together before they institutionalize me. Before I'm carted off to the rubber room, the room with different textures on the wall. Let's do some more show. Let's do. And I hate to do this, but we're going to get a little more serious with you because I've been a playwright, a theater critic, an actor, director, a theater journalist for many years. And I do love the theater and talking Broadway with you. So we're going to in our Inside Broadway segment. Inside Broadway, a look at theater on and off Broadway and beyond. Brought to you by Total Theater and Performing Arts Insider. Curtain going up. And you know, if we are talking theater, I do have to give a shout out. I do have to give credit, because I've been. It's true that I'm overwhelmed. I get these emails, several, not just a week, but per day, of all these press agents saying, "Oh, this theater company, they're doing this reading online, and they're having this group thing and a group sing."
Zoom fatigue.
Theater Zoom fatigue.
Uh-oh, the dog woke up.
You know, all these people are doing all these things out of the goodness of their hearts and just wanting to do something because they're creative people. And then, of course, they'll say, "Hey, if you like this, please donate to
You
our
never
theater
mentioned
company."
Frankenstein.
Well, yeah, Joyce and I were watching the Royal National Theatre in England. They've been doing a different play every week. These are plays that were recorded professionally that were done on the stages of England's Royal National Theatre over the past couple of years. Oh, sorry. Oh, watch out.
You grabbed him hard?
I don't know. I think I
In the neck.
Oh,
Give me
sorry,
the.
boy.
Oh God.
That was our moment of dog, ladies and
Yeah, we
gentlemen.
almost killed him.
Is he okay? So Joyce and I were watching 2 weeks ago, of course, because she's in love with Benedict Cumberbatch. He played Frankenstein along
I'm gonna
with
go get him some food to calm
right,
him.
Johnny Lee Miller, whom you all know from Elementary. They what they would do is kind of like the True West thing. No, I'm great, thanks. Where they would now. It was kind of a repertory thing where one night Benedict Cumberbatch would play Frankenstein's monster, and Johnny Lee Miller would play Frankenstein, the scientist, and then the next night they would switch roles and do that. Well, we saw the part of the one where Cumberbatch was the monster, and we didn't really see Johnny Lee Miller at all in the first 40 minutes of the show, which is all we had time to watch, because we're so incredibly busy that we don't even have time to watch a 2.5-hour play on the internet. But it was very good. It was like the first 10 minutes are slow going, because it's essentially the monster flopping around for, turning into a human being. It's sort of like showing the progression that a little bitty newborn baby would go through from being age 0 up till being like a 20-year-old, and he does it in about 8 to 10 minutes. But it's a lot of just sort of flopping around, and then everybody gets to see Benedict Cumberbatch in his underpants. Yeah, he does have a nice tush. Did you think Cumberbatch had a nice tushy? Oh, he wasn't. He was covered in slime.
I would revive the monster.
I'm sure you give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. I'll
Not with COVID.
Well, that's true. If there weren't COVID around, my wife would resuscitate Benedict Cumberbatch.
I take the hit.
But anywho, it was actually very good, but it looked like it was going to be really sad, because it was more about the monster learning just how horrible human beings
Well,
are.
my favorite part was the Because there's always like a moral allegory, or there's some kind of deeper message.
Yeah.
But the blind farmer who couldn't see him but saw him, like the message of, you can't physically see me, but you see the inner me, which is the real me. I love that.
Yeah.
That was, I thought, the most, we didn't watch the end because it's sad, but I thought that was the most profound part of the play.
Well, who knows? It may have been more profound later on. I mean, it looked really good. We just didn't want to spend the emotional energy or time to watch the whole thing. And it's not there anymore. The thing about the National Theater is they'll put these up for a week, and then they'll do another show. And they've got, I think, Anthony and Cleopatra or something.
Ooh.
But there are just tons of these things to watch, and I just get fatigued. And at first I was excited about it, and then I was like, I want to work on my own stuff. I don't want to spend 2.5 hours in front of a computer watching a play that isn't really a play because it's all done on Zoom and it's a reading and blah, blah. But I broke that rule earlier this week.
Oh, you love the play you saw yesterday. Or
yeah, it was a show that I missed.
Like a dating thing that everybody's getting married or something.
It was a play by Joshua Harmon called Significant Other that I didn't see on Broadway. I kind of wish I had now. And it's this modern day thing of a gay Jewish guy and his 3 girlfriends. I mean, friends who are girls. And the thing is, they've all been great pals and they all get along great and they all tell each other their problems and they're honest with each other and everything's terrific. But, they're women in their 20s, early 30s, and they're meeting men and they're starting to get into relationships. And when that happens, of course, you kind of pull away from your circle of friends because now you've got this person in your life that you're building a life with. And he feels more and more isolated. He feels more and more like he's losing his whole.
But I think it's a common. So most people feel when their friends marry that they're gonna lose their friend.
Yeah.
Why do you have your handkerchief over your eye cream?
I don't.
Okay, you don't want that. Okay,
it shouldn't be.
Okay, but a lot of people feel that way, And then when people start to have kids, they feel like if you don't have kids, you're going to lose that connection. A lot of people feel that. I think it's very common. It's a commonality.
And that's really what the play is about. And it worked. It worked on Zoom. And I mean, this is a play that took place in different places.
But they were drinking like water, and was that part of the show, or were they just doing that because they were acting, or was it part of like a prop?
Well, remember, some of the scenes were taking place at bridal showers and weddings, so they could pick up a glass and they would be, have a cocktail in hand, or at a bar, something like that, or at the office they could be drinking, so they could fit that in, and it would be clever. You have maybe one character hand another character something to drink. So what they would do is they hold up the cup and they move it to the side of the frame, and then another person would take a beverage from, make believe they were pulling the beverage from that, and they would do little things like that. It was directed by Trip Coleman, but it really, really worked. And for more than 2 hours, it was like 2 hours and 15-minute show. I was involved and riveted, and it was funny. It was touching. It was a really good piece, and it made me feel like this could be the next iteration. They will figure out some way, real theater people, how to make this, if not feel like sharing an experience in a room full of 1,200 fellow humans laughing and whatever at the same time. We can still feel, even though we've got all these isolated little boxes.
It was great.
People are just sitting there. They're not even walking around in special spaces.
What actors should do for the regular people is tell them how to look into the camera and engage during Zoom or during video chatting. Actors have a great way of projecting themselves, looking at you, and really using the camera. I think that's the advantage they have, right?
Yeah.
They know, like you do it too.
Well, I do, but I'm just talking as me to whoever's out there. They're staying in character, talking to other people.
And they had an intermission, right?
Yeah. Well, they have a 5 minute. I mean, I think it's I now want to see more. I'm nodding so much that I'm making the camera shake, but I want to see more of this.
You want to see more?
Suddenly, I would see Little Shop of Horrors done like this. So it doesn't mean that every day I'm going to sit there and watch a 2-hour play, even though when I was in my 20s, I would schlep to New York 6 or 7 days a week to go in, to get on the subway, to go to the theater, sit there and physically live and take that time and commute and then come home at 11 or 12 at night. And it was nothing. I did it gladly most of the time. And now I'm too fucking lazy and then too busy with my own stuff and in my own head where I don't want to lie here and pull this computer to me for 2 whole hours. And that's my commute. My commute is my computer's over there on the bed. I'm over here on the bed. I have to click this website. And I'm like, I don't want it. I should get over that and start watching a lot more theater, especially if it's as good as Significant Other was earlier in the week. And by the way,
Can people still see it?
I think it is still, and it was free, by the way. I'm certainly not going to pay for theater, being a theater critic all these years. I know that's the jerk in me, but
It's the jerk. It's just the dog in you.
But I think it was a benefit for the Actors Fund, so you can give.
Yes, it was.
For,
It was. They
Yeah.
kept saying that it was a benefit
For the
You're
Actors Fund.
correct,
So
yeah.
you can watch it, and then if you think it was worthwhile, if you think
But the Actors Fund was
money.
to care for people with COVID, right? Wasn't that the?
It's caring for actors and all sorts of things. Are they able to eat? Do they need money for medical care? Do they need services?
Oh, Stan Rice. Oh my God, Stan!
Stan!
He said, "Who are the people in your Daverhood?"
Who are the people in my day?
I'm
Well,
saying, welcome back, Stan.
welcome. Well, Stan, I think he's out. I don't know where he is. I mean, it may be earlier for him. It's 11 o'clock Eastern time here in the Daverhood. We're doing the 746th episode of Dave's Gone By. We've been calling it TED Talk because Ted Greenberg was our guest at the beginning of the program. My darling and adorable wife Joyce is here. And and I want to remind you that you can watch virtually all the episodes or listen to the ones that were audio only at davesgoneby.com. DAVESGONEBY. davesgoneby.com. Well,
I said, "Welcome back, Stan." Stan. Oh,
hello, Stan. Yeah.
what's that?
Well, you lost the thread there.
What's Seagate?
It's a hard drive.
No, Stan Reisler said, Seagate. SEA Gate. Seagate?
Well, there's a Seagate drive in. Maybe he's in. Stan, are you
That's
on the
right.
line?
I don't know.
Yeah. This delay thing. Ooh.
Here, this will make you happy.
This time delay thing, I just can't. It puts me on a whole. Because when you're on heroin, man, it's hard enough keeping track of
David,
time.
you're talking
And
to.
now you got this Pacific and Eastern
You're
Standard.
talking to. Oh, he said yes.
Mm.
Oh, Cynthia Shub said. Shub
Yeah.
said Brooklyn. Brooklyn
strong.
strong.
Yeah, baby.
33rd and 3rd, baby.
No, Twiggy, Toy, and Toy.
There's the Dodgers, right? The Brooklyn
The
Dodgers.
Dodgers, man.
I
Yeah.
can't do it.
And egg creams and
It's
all
my
that.
it's my multilingual thought processes. I can't do vowels. Vowels hurt my brain.
Vowels. Vowels. Vowels hurt my brain too. Ow. So anyway, let's get to really I'm using my mouth. To Inside Broadway a bit more. So I was talking about all these Broadway things, but let's talk about actual theater Broadway.
You might
Thank
need
stuff.
sugar.
Yeah. Mm. So we heard this week.
And then Stan wrote
Yeah.
Harvey Shub.
Who's
And
Harvey?
then Cynthia said our cousin. Maybe Stan and Cynthia have some.
I don't know.
It's Cynthia's like 6 degrees of Cynthia.
I know, right?
It's like Kevin Bacon. She's related to everybody.
Oh, by the way, is that your house, guys? On my cousin Cynthia and Jeff's Facebook page, they posted that they finally closed on their house. They bought a
our
house. It looks like a
cousin,
mansion.
Dr. Harvey Shub.
Oh,
Shub.
Shub. Yeah.
Dr. Shub.
Right. Yeah. Shuby. Shladovit. Yeah. All these arcane references in the show.
I'm very confused.
Okay. So anyway, we do know.
I'm gonna like all the comments.
So what had happened was the previous pause end date for what?
Apparently, the cousin lived there in the 1960s. I don't know. There's a whole subcontext. Yeah.
Well, let me get to some Broadway stuff here.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go, baby.
All Broadway shows were suspended until June 7th. That had been the thing up until this past week. It was the idea that not necessarily that shows would start again on June 8th, but if you had bought tickets to Broadway shows or off-Broadway shows from now through June 6th, you could get your money back. You could either refund or exchange for a later date, but they were not going to do that past June 7th or 8th or 9th because they were still thinking, hey, maybe we'll reopen not happening. This is the week the shoe finally actually
Or the
dropped.
shoe.
The shoe dropped, that's right. And apparently Broadway is closed. There will be no Broadway before September 7th. So that's it. There's no summertime Broadway at all. And what this also means again is that it doesn't necessarily mean Broadway's going to start up again right after Labor Day. That suddenly, on September 8th, there will be a show. It may very well mean that they'll start letting backstage people and actors get together and rehearse and get things prepared so that maybe by late September at the earliest, we might have some theater. There are folks who are saying we won't have any theater until winter. There are folks who are saying we might not see Broadway theater until 2021, and that the little small, maybe the off-Broadway houses with a lot of segmenting will be able to get started earlier. But it is, that's it. That is, who knew? Who knew? As I said, on March 9th, when I went to see Girl from the North Country on Broadway, that it would be my last Broadway show, possibly for all of 2020. It's certainly going to be my last Broadway show until early September. And everybody's.
But it's very predictive because you love Dylan.
Oh, well, yeah. And it's,
now they think until January. And then Stan said, but Stan has the intel from, China. Didn't he work with the exporting and importing or something?
Yeah.
But he said, I heard 2021 also.
I mean, it's Charlotte St. Martin of the Broadway League. She is the one who sort of takes all this information and is talking. She's actually on a committee with Cuomo and folks who are in the arts and cultures of how to reopen, when they reopen. Because she represents all the Broadway theater. She's the chairman of the Broadway League. And those are all the producers of Broadway shows. So, yeah, it could very well be January before we see a show again. This is what it is. However, here's the cool thing. Even in the midst of this, okay, now this spring and summer, there was supposed to be a revival of Neil Simon's comedy Plaza Suite, featuring Sarah Jessica Parker and her husband, Matthew Broderick. Well, it isn't happening, but they went out there and this past week they announced dates that they are going to do it. It's going to be a year away. So starting previews March 19th, 2021 at the Hudson Theater in a limited run through July 18th, 2021. So if you want to buy your tickets, if you want to support Broadway, at least we know that Plaza Suite is booked and should be happening a year from now on Broadway. So that at least is some good news. I mean, and what better way to reopen Broadway, as it were, than with Neil Simon? Maybe there'll be some shows also before that, and some shows that are already playing will be ramped up. However, the scary news, the quite literally chilling news that came down this week is that we've had another casualty. In the sense that weeks ago, when the freeze first went into effect, the Broadway pause first started, we were told immediately that the Martin McDonagh play Hangman and the revival of Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf would not open. That they had started previews and they were just going to go away. They couldn't keep the thing together. They were not going to happen. But every other show has just been sitting on a fence, whether it started previews or whether it's a long-running show like Wicked or Lion King, or not quite long-running shows like Ain't Too Proud,
Hamilton.
and Hagestown, the Tony winner, Hamilton, and Jagged Little Pill, which is a pretty recent show. All these things are kind of sitting and waiting and seeing. Well, Frozen is not going to wait and see anymore. When that September 7th decision came down, Frozen, and which is produced by the Walt Disney Company, they said, that's it, we're not coming. But they weren't doing multi-million-dollar business to begin with. They were a very soft hit, and we don't actually even know if they were a hit. It was been running about 2 years. It was grossing about $1 million a week in the good times, but it's an expensive show, so it might never have paid its backers back, and Disney is very, very, not very forthcoming with its finances. So anyway, they figured not going to reopen it, and Disney has all these other shows to take care of. It's just too much. They have officially shut down the Broadway musical Frozen. It ended then on March 11th after 26 previews and 825 regular performances. So as I said, chilling news, there won't be Frozen. The fear, of course, is that other shows are going to follow suit. You know, somebody was joking weeks ago that Phantom of the Opera, well, no, it wasn't a joke. It was Michael Riedel writing in his New York Post column that, you know, Phantom, which isn't grossing usually $1 million a week anymore, except in holidays when families go, how will that survive this kind of thing? And then a week later, he quoted Andrew Lloyd Webber saying, "Oh, Phantom will be back."
I wish
of all things, Phantom will
we
be back.
only had cats, you know.
Oh God. Well, they're going to stream Cats the movie at some point soon. Yeah. Anyway.
I just put a cat on a motorbike as a symbol.
Also, some more sad theater news, although it was not COVID related. But early this week, we all know that on Monday, the world lost Jerry Stiller.
Oh, you love Joyce Stiller.
Stiller died of natural causes at the age of 92. Check out this man's career, man. He was in World War II, graduated from Syracuse University with a degree in speech and drama. What? Why is that funny?
Cynthia likes my cat on a motorcycle.
What is that in Retro Cats?
Yes.
So he started acting and doing Shakespeare and doing stuff off Broadway with the Phoenix Theater Company in 1953. Jerry Stiller met this lovely Irish woman named Anne Mira and loved her immediately, hit it off immediately, and he formed a comedy team with her, and they joined the Compass Players.
Didn't they have the boy?
Oh, well, they had kids,
son,
of course, but they joined what would eventually become Second City. And then Stiller and Mira was, for several years, the most popular comedy team in America. I remember their album wasn't that good, but they had an album called Laugh When You Like. They remember they used to do commercials for Blue Nun wine back in the 1970s. They were very popular. I mean, they had a fabulous career just together. And then Stiller we're going to talk about his theater work, but of course, he is best known for like that third act. Some actors pray for that third act in their lives. He had it in spades when he was tapped to play George Costanza, of course, in Seinfeld. And, you know, I never appreciated Stiller that much as an actor.
He was the father of George Costanza.
Yeah. So he played Frank Costanza, excuse me, the father of George Costanza. Thank you for correcting that. But, you know, I never thought of him as much of an actor. I'd seen him on stage, and it was okay. But when he yelled in Seinfeld, when he would just, I mean, it's sort of like Gilbert Gottfried. Gilbert Gottfried can't act for beans, but when he has that certain moment of yelling, you just lose it. And Stiller could do that, and did it often in Seinfeld. I'll never forget this thing. I wish I could find it on YouTube, where there's a moment where poor George, he's sitting on the couch, and he's just trying to drink a cup of coffee or something. And he's got his mother on like his right side and his father, Jerry Stiller, on the left. And they're having an argument and just yelling at each other. And there's this magnificent look that crosses Jason Alexander's face of unbridled misery. And it's just one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And so much of that credit, of course, went to Jason Alexander, but also to Jerry Stiller as well. And then Jerry Stiller had a friggin' fourth act, because after Seinfeld, he went on and spent even more, well, maybe not more years, but almost as many years as the dad on King of Queens. Yeah. And it was really funny on that too. You know, he really helped make that show. So what a career, and we haven't even talked about, and this is why we're talking about this on Inside Broadway, he did a lot of theater. He was in The Golden Apple, the musical, and then he did, when Three Penny Opera came to Broadway with, check this out, Joe Sullivan-Lesser, John Astin, who of course became Gomez Addams, and the beloved Beatrice Arthur. Jerry Stiller was in Three Penny Opera with them. In 1956, he did The Good Woman of Szechuan, speaking of Bertolt Brecht, he did that play with the Phoenix Theater Company. His castmates included his wife, Anne Mira, Uga Hagen, the celebrated acting teacher, and Zero Mostel, Huh? Huh?
Wow.
I think he first came mainly to prominence beyond Stiller and Mira when he was in the original Broadway cast of the Terrence McNally comedy The Ritz in 1975. He was in the Albert Inarago play Passion, which was directed by Frank Langella. I remember seeing him way back when in Hurly Burly, which was this very celebrated drama which featured William Hurt and Sigourney Weaver, Cynthia Nixon, and Harvey Keitel. It was quite the cast was better than the play, actually. And he was also in a revival of Three Men on a Horse that Tony Randall put together for his National Actors Theater Company. Jack Klugman was in it, Julie Haggerty, our friend, also a young Danny Burston, our other theater friend, was in that show back in 1993. Jerry Stiller's last Broadway show was in 1997. It was a revival of Three Sisters with, you want to talk about starry casting? In Three Sisters, Jerry Stiller, Amy Irving, Callista Flockhart, Jean Triplehorn, Lily Taylor, Eric Stoltz, Billy Crudup, and Paul Giamatti. That's a cast right there. He also did off-Broadway shows. As a matter of fact, Ann Mira wrote a couple of plays. One of them was very good. It was called Afterplay. Stiller was in that. He was also in her 2000 play called Down the Garden Paths. Do you remember this? And we just watched the documentary about John Waters.
Oh yeah, that was good. It was really good.
Yeah, it was very good. Well, actually, it wasn't about John. It was about Divine.
Yeah, Divine.
But it was about John Waters' circle of friends or people. He played Wilbur in the original movie Hairspray. He was the husband in Hairspray, and then they also cast him in a role when Hairspray was turned into a movie musical later on. He wrote the book Married to Laughter, a love story featuring Ann Mira, and of course he and Ann were the parents of Ben Stiller and Amy Stiller, both of them performers and writers. So farewell, a very, very fond farewell to the late, great Jerry Stiller from the Daverhood. Well, I tell you this every week as we do our Inside Broadway segment, that even though there's no Broadway at the moment, there will be. And if you want to find out what will be, or what is planned to be, you're going to want to get yourself this magazine. It's called Performing Arts Insider, and it has been the Bible of Broadway since 1944. This is the place where people in the entertainment industry turn to find out everything that's happening on all the stages of New York, off Broadway, and of course, Broadway. So I'll go through it real quick. For example, on this first page here, you've got a guide to all the, now granted, this is our March issue, just put out pre-COVID, but these were all the shows running on Broadway and scheduled to open, a map of the Broadway Theater District. Here is a guide to all the theaters on Broadway. A lot of them are going to be open by next year and available to put shows in. Well, if you're a producer and you want to know, well, how many seats does that theater have? And where's that one located? And what shows are currently in it and maybe closing? This is the page you turn to. You might want to flip the page and go to the press agents list. These are the people who handle the PR for all the shows. They get the critics into the seats. They try and do promotion and publicity things and get the actors on TV shows and radio shows. Who do you contact to contact everybody involved in these shows? That's this page right here. And then we get to what's really in the magazine, the listings, our chronological calendar listings of when shows start, previews, open and close, both on Broadway as well as off and off Broadway, show after show. This is extraordinary information that you can't really get anywhere else. We have a guide to awards and special events, such as they are in normal times, and then our comprehensive guide to every single show on, off, and off Broadway, whether it's currently running or about to be running in the weeks and months ahead. Now, granted,
Ann Siegel joined in.
And hey, in these COVID times, we're not publishing hard copies for the next couple of weeks, but you can still get brand new issues every month.
COVID-free.
COVID-free issues in your email. We're PDFing them to our subscribers. So if you want to find out more, and of course you want to be ready to have this as Broadway starts up. Because yeah, no, they're not doing Broadway right now, but you got to make plans. You got to figure, okay, well, what's going to be happening on Broadway in February of 2021? This is the magazine to get. And you can find out about it at performingartsinsider.com. Again, the magazine is hard copy, but the information on how to subscribe is at performingartsinsider.com. It's expensive, but people who get this journal renew year after year after year because it is that good, that well put together, that useful. Performing Arts Insider. The Bible of Broadway. Well, moving on to some more Broadway news. We have some sad news and then some happy news. It's not all going to be doom and gloom here on Inside Broadway. First, so a quick bit of sad news. Farewell to Earl McCarroll, who died on May 5th. We just got the news of this. He was 80 years old, has one Broadway credit. He was in the 1980 musical The Canterbury Tales, where he played Geoffrey Chaucer, author of The Canterbury Tales. And I guess, I'm assuming the narrator of the piece. And he also played a character in there named January, who sings the song, If She Has Never Loved Before. I don't really know the score or the show The Canterbury Tales, but I do know that in this 1980 musical, there is a song, Wink, Wink, Nudge, Nudge, wherein one of the characters sings, I have a noble cock, about his rooster.
Yeah, wow.
And amazingly enough, our high school teacher played us this song, of all songs to play for us, to show us what a double entendre is. I have a noble cock who sleeps in my lady's chamber. It's that kind of, subtle, I think is the word for it. Anywho, farewell to Earl McCarroll, by the way, who was a professor for 30 years at Ithaca College, and they even named their studio theater after him. So a fond farewell. And now the happy news. Happy news, the Outer Critics Circle has announced its honors for 2019-2020 season. So they're not having a typical Outer Critics Circle awards or ceremony, of course.
Why can't they just distribute the awards like, give
Well, they can mail
awards?
them. Well, what they're doing, because, the voters couldn't really see the end of the season.
But that's sad. People want to win awards.
Well, the Drama Desk figured out a way to do nominations and awards, but the Outer Critics Circle, they're saying, you know what? Tell you what. Instead of this, we're just going to have honorees. We're going to pick a bunch of shows that were special to a lot of our voters and our nominators and our committee, and we're just going to say we honor them this year because it's such a strange year. So let me tell you what the Outer Critics Circle Broadway and off-Broadway nominees were. For example, the plays being honored are Bess Wall's Grand Horizons, Florian Zeller's The Height of the Storm, which, by the way, sucked. Matthew Lopez's The Inheritance, which did not. Tracy Letz's Linda Vista, which was pretty good. And Adam Rapp's The Sound Inside, which was also pretty good. I mean, if I were voting, The Inheritance would easily take my prize for this crop. But they're all being honored by the Outer Critics Circle. The musicals, the new musicals, honorees are Jagged Little Pill, which was terrific. Moulin Rouge, which was big. Moulin Rouge was huge. And Tina, which had a fantastic star in it, in Adrienne Warren. Some off-Broadway plays that got honored. Check out these titles. Cambodian Rock Band, Greater Clements, Halfway Bitches Go Straight to Heaven. Miles Davis knew some of those. Oh, those halfway bitches, man. I'll see those motherfuckers when I get to heaven. Bess Wall's play Make Believe. She had two plays, one off-Broadway and one on this year. And then Teresa Rebeck's Seared. Off-Broadway musicals that were honored included Darling Grenadine, Octet, The Secret Life of Bees, which I guess we're going into the neighbor's yard. So you have to watch the whole show to get the context of this thing. Soft Power, which had a book by David Henry Wong and was very good. I saw that one. And The Strange Loop, which won the Pulitzer Prize like a week ago. Play revivals went to Fires in the Mirror. That was the Anna Devere Smith play from years ago. Betrayal, which was wonderful. That revival on Broadway. Frankie and Johnny and the Claire de Lune, and A Soldier's Play, which was also a terrific Broadway revival. Musical revivals included Little Shop of Horrors, The Unsinkable Molly Brown, which featured our friend of the Daverhood, from UNC Beth Malone, and the controversial revival of West Side Story. So congratulations, and there are many, many more. The list goes on for pages. So go find the Outer Critics Circle website to find out who were the honorees for this past foreshortened Broadway and off-Broadway season. We do wish them all honor and, most importantly, further good and successful work ahead as we move forward inside Broadway.
It's the famous gay white way, where the night is bright as day. Ain't Broadway grand?
It's not just a thoroughfare, it's a tingle in the air. Ain't Broadway grand?
It's excitement, it's romance, it's all fun and song and dance. This wonderland, you can be a millionaire quicker here than anywhere. Ain't Broadway grand?
Sure is, ladies and gentlemen. Broadway is grand, and it is grand doing this program, Dave's Gone By, every Saturday from 9 until noon or thereabouts here in the Daverhood. I mentioned before, but I'll mention again, that if you're liking this show, if you're first happening on this program for the very first time, you're a Facebook person, you got our alert or our event thing to join this morning, welcome. But we have done 745 previous episodes of these. If you want to hear them, because for 14 years we were on radio, either college radio or commercial radio, the MP3s are at the website, davesgoneby.com. Dave's, like my name, davesgoneby.com. And so you can listen to our very first program from October 2002. You can listen to our 100th program or 347th program. They're all up there. And most of them are in good audio condition. They're free. You can either stream them right on your computer, or if you want to go listen to it somewhere else, you can download the MP3, kind of like a podcast, and listen to it that way. Speaking of podcasts, we've also been posting our more recent shows on castbox.fm. So this is a website specifically for podcasting. So it's real easy to go there. And the past 6 years now of our episodes are there. It's audio only, so you won't get the visuals. You won't get the whole Facebook video experience. But if you just want the audio, if you're going out there on the train or to the gym, you're not. But let's say you want to walk around the house, you want headphones on, you don't need to sit in front of the computer for 3 hours, you can go to castbox.fm and listen that way to the last 6 years of our shows. You can also find our archives, the last 6 years of them so far, at a marvelous website called archive.org. Archive.org. I love being on this site because it's not just me. This is truly, it's a nonprofit organization that is trying to archive the 20th and 21st century of recorded sound, art, music, film. It's not so you can go there and listen to old Fibber McGee and Molly or Vic and Sade. You can go there and listen to old radio programs, of course, and TV kinescopes from the 1950s, and plus more modern stuff. It's this panoply. It's kind of Wild Westy in a YouTube sort of a way, but I love that they're doing it. And I love that we're getting Dave's Gone By episodes on archive.org on the Dave's Gone By page. So please do check that out. And if you want to write to me, davesgoneby@aol.com is the way to do that. davesgoneby@aol.com, or feel free, of course, since we have a Facebook page, to just post me messages right here, whether it's during the show or all week long. I'll check them. I can't respond to everybody, but I do try and acknowledge or at least give a thumbs up if you're saying hi to me. But I do prefer, email is actually better. I prefer that, davesgoneby@aol.com. It is 11:30 in the morning, Eastern time. We've had a wonderful time so far, haven't we? Been talking to Ted Greenberg. We had some great fun yakking about COVID and talking about Broadway and doing Greeley crimes and old times, and now I have to apologize. Now comes the one of the unfortunate things that we do every week here on Dave's Gone By, we make a pun, an egregious play on words, if you will, that I know it's inexcusable and I should stop. But kind of like Miles Davis, I'm an addict for wordplay. You remember that one that it wasn't mine, but we did earlier about that Amore was knighted and the experience was surreal. Surreal. I didn't write that one. This one I did write. And we do them every week, called The Wretched Pun of Destiny. So it is a little story that ends with a horrific play on words. And yeah, we got one of those. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right to it.
The day has gone by, wretched pun of destiny.
Animal protection in India has been so successful that villages are seeing more elephants than they have in decades. Well, that would be great, except that it has caused other problems, mainly huge piles of elephant dung all over the roads. Local sanitation has been overwhelmed, so officials called for 2 American entrepreneurs to compete for a long-term contract. Mr. Howard proposed a cross between a harvester and a giant vacuum, while Mr. Katz showed his machine, a snowplow hooked up to the sewer system. Each inventor was given 1 hour to clean up half a village, Howard in the west, Katz in the east. The contest began, and in the first 15 minutes, Mr. Howard finished 2 streets. He then looked up to find Katz not only finished with the east side of the village, but cleaning up all the remaining streets in the west. The referee stopped the contest early to declare the winner, with Mr. Katz giving a gracious victory speech. Mr. Howard, however, could do nothing but stare incredulously at his opponent's machine. Mr. Howard, said the referee, would you like to make a concession speech? But Howard was silent. Mr. Howard, the ref pressed on, at least congratulate your worthy opponent. But the loser just stared, dumbfounded, at the machine, unable to say a word. What's the matter, said the ref. Cat's got your dung?
We here at Dave's Gone By apologize for bringing you the wretched pun of destiny.
Yeah. Joyce is shaking her head. Do we have any response on that? Do we have anybody losing their lunch or their breakfast or both? No?
Just the cat on the moped.
Yeah, that was our wretched pun of destiny. Do send your complaint letters to davesgoneby@aol.com. I also forgot to mention that we have a Twitter feed, Radio Dave 2. It's Radio Dave and the number 2. And if you've ever had a good number 2, you know just how pleasurable they can be. But, and by the way, that is a Letterman steal, which I love how things dovetail with each other, because we, of course, had a Letterman writer on the show earlier in the program. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. We have more shows. Should I do we probably will have the time. Tom, do you think I should do a Dave's Big Dictionary or not?
I think they're waiting for the quiz personally.
Oh, no, what? My God, I forgot to tell you yesterday.
Quiz. I would do that, and then after that, I would, then if you have time.
If I have time after that. But I knew we seemed to be running so early, and then I was like, oh, that's why. Or today, yesterday. So I'll tell you what.
I'm going to type in quiz time.
We're going to do Friends of the Daverhood, and then get right into our today, yesterday quiz. I hope Cynthia and Jeff are still with us and enjoying. But first of all, I want to thank Rabbi Saul Solomon for opening the show and then doing that lovely interview with Ted Greenberg. For more about Rabbi Saul, go to shalomdammit.com, shalom, D-A-M-M-I-T, shalomdammit.com. That is a place to hear his mini sermons, his rabbinical reflections. It's also a great place to watch his stage show that he did at the Richmond Shepherd Theater, speaking of live theater, many, many years ago.
I just put
off Broadway. What's that?
It looks like a little ice bear with a Sherlock hat and a quiz.
Oh, sweet.
Quiz time.
Quiz time in just a couple of minutes, actually. But Rabbi Saul, he has a Twitter feed as well. It's at Rabbi Saul Solomon, at Rabbi Saul Solomon. And do check out his website, shalomdammit.com. And, of course, Ted Greenberg. Go to thecompleteperformer.com for more about him. He is now an official friend of the Daverhood. Those are people who have appeared on this program, whether recently or many, many years ago. We consider them friends, like family, and we like to check on what they're up to, how they're doing, what projects are they working on. And so that is why we call them friends of the Daverhood. La, 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 la. Friends of the Daverhood, ladies and gentlemen. So we have some. We've got, even though nothing's really happening now per se, there's stuff happening. For example, I had it in front of me, and here it is. For example, I want to let you know that tonight, guitarist and songwriter Jorma Kaukonen, whom we all know from Jefferson Airplane and Hot Tuna, he is doing another solo concert. He's been doing them once a week online from his Fur Peace Ranch. And you can watch that, it's for free, on YouTube at 8 o'clock in the evening, Jorma Kaukonen. I want to also let you know that on Monday, it would be this Monday, LaShans and Tamara Tooney, two of our friends, are co-hosting a virtual celebration of Harlem Stage, and one of their guests is going to be another friend of the Daverhood, celebrated choreographer Bill T. Jones. So you're going to want to watch that. That's online, a celebration, and of course a fundraising thing for Harlem Stage that is happening Monday night. On Tuesday at 11:30 in the morning, Julie Holston and our recent friend Charles Bush, both of them funny friends of the Daverhood, will be announcing the Off-Broadway Alliance Awards, and you can watch those on YouTube, 11:30 this Tuesday morning, Eastern Time. And then coming towards the end of the week, the 22nd through the 24th, the Lower East Side Festival of the Arts. And that was supposed to be an in-person festival, I think at Theater for the New City, and perhaps La Mama was involved as well. It's going to be online only, but listen to how many friends of the Daverhood are going to be part of this virtual Lower East Side Festival of the Arts. Austin Pendleton, the aforementioned Charles Bush, Phoebe Legere, Penny Arcade, and they're even going to be showing footage of a play that they did years ago called The Disputation, which was directed by our friend Bob Calfin and starred our late friend of the Daverhood, Theodore Bacall. So there's just tons of Daverhoodies all over this Lower East Side Festival of the Arts. Going to be about 150 different theater artists participating, and it'll be happening May 22nd through the 24th. I want to send out this I wish I didn't have to do this. Condolences to our recent friend Edward Einhorn, whose mom died of COVID yesterday. So a big sorry thing for that. He's been busy doing his play online. I think it's called Play for One or
something
Table
like
for One, something like that.
I thought it was like with the table.
Yeah. But anyway, a big sorry to Edward Einhorn, and condolences on that. Moving forward, I want to let you know that you can watch our friend Charlie Gross. Now, normally we promote his theater review show called Two on the Aisle.
He's not doing it?
That he does with Leslie Hoban Blake. Well, what's to do? But instead, he's been going on and doing his own YouTube and his own virtual stuff, including a mini performance called Tales of Stockbridge, where he talks a little bit and then he performs.
Is that New Jersey?
I guess it must. Oh, no. He tells a little bit about Stockbridge. I guess it's Massachusetts. and then performs his own version of Arlo Guthrie's Alice's Restaurant.
So do I.
So
I
it's
do
a
that all
20.
the time. Nobody talks about mine.
So if you go to the YouTube channel for Two on the Aisle, you can watch Charlie talk and then perform Alice's Restaurant. Look for Tales of Stockbridge. PBS.org is showing all 4 Gabriel family plays that were produced by the Public Theater. Richard Nelson is the author. J.O. Sanders co-stars in that show. I want to let you know that Apple Podcasts is showing Bleeding Love. What a name for a show. Bleeding Love. It's a musical with our friend Annie Golden playing Madame
Look who I
Floyd.
just scrolled through.
Annie Golden, she's there. She was just on the show like last month.
Yeah.
Let's see who else.
April 11th, she was on the show.
Yeah. Evan Seplow, I want to remind you, is the founder and editor of StageBuddy.com, although I can't imagine they're posting much there. Dr. Demento at drdemento.com, broadcasting legend. I honestly don't know if he's doing new I guess he could do new Doctor. He might have a staff that helps him, and it might be difficult for him to do them. But remember that all these hundreds of old Dr. Demento shows are at his website. And we're talking about from like the 1970s up through the 80s, 90s, thousands of Dr. Demento shows, all for a small fee at drdemento.com. And if you want to hear Broadway show tunes, go to soundsofbroadway.com, curated by our friend Stuart Brown. And Bob Cudmore is still doing his podcast of upstate New York history at bobcudmore.com. And Phil Mushnick is writing about sports and sports coverage and media, because there are still things to criticize even right now. Go to the New York Post to read Phil Mushnick. And those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. What? You want to answer some questions now? I've been doing too much of the work here. I've just been prattling on and talking. You want to test your knowledge and your trivia against Moa, or you want to test them against my cousins, Cynthia and Jeff? So here's how we're going to do it, how we do it every week. It's called our Today, Yesterday quiz. And what it is I'm going to ask some questions about May 16th in history, going all the way back, possibly hundreds of years. And so you'll hear the quiz, you'll hear the clues, and then you say, hey, no fair Googling, no fair Binging or Wikiing or Instagramming or face apping or whatever else. WeChatting or Zooming. It's just, play fair. And then if you can be the first, try and see if you can type in your answer before Cynthia and Jeff, or maybe my cousin Mark is still with us, and play against them, because they're pretty tough. They're pretty good competitors.
Show them what they'll win. This is the prize. You get the potato puzzle.
Oh, that's right. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is exciting because we want to keep our potatoes. We have so many potatoes here in the house, and we do love them, but they've been getting a little bit antsy in these later weeks of COVID. They've got nothing. They can't grow because they can't go outside and get sunshine. So potatoes have been, they've been getting a little obstreperous and hard to deal with. So my wife thought, hey, let me give them something to occupy their time. So she created a puzzle.
It's like the Heinz puzzle, only it's low budget.
Yeah. So we read last week that Heinz, in its infinite, endless marketing wisdom, came out with a puzzle of 550 pieces, all of them, every single piece, this color red. Basically, is a puzzle for madmen. No, I don't mean 1950s madmen. I mean literally locked up, should be calling, the Greeley and Weld County Police Dispatch kind of madmen. So my wife.
Oh my God! Look when you put the puzzle piece.
Yeah, isn't that beautiful? Yeah. So I said, hey, let's buy this puzzle, and Joyce said, no, we're not spending $20 on an all red puzzle that you will never do and that you will throw out the window when you get frustrated. However, for the potatoes' sake, because they do love their ketchup, I will make them a puzzle. So she did. So look at this. Look at this. Isn't this wonderful? She created a puzzle that has been keeping them occupied for hours and hours on end. There's no real way I can actually,
No, you can't.
with a computer like this, show how it, but Tango, you want to take a stab at this? Okay, here we go. Tough.
Look, it's great visual. But...
Yay, it fits, yay! I'm finished. No, wait, no, there's a third piece. It's been difficult, but it has kept them occupied, which is really good. So thank you, dear, for creating this puzzle. But now we have a very different game to play with our viewers and listeners. It's called our Today, Yesterday quiz. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, our Today, Yesterday quiz for May 16th. So these are all things that happened in history on this date in May. Are you ready? I know you are. Here we go. Should I do them all as Miles Davis? No. You sure? Pharmacist Charles Elmer.
Nobody could.
No. Okay. Pharmacist Charles Elmer Hires invented a formula for a beverage that is still sold today. And he did this in 1875, May 16th,
I know what it is.
1875. Charles Elmer Hires
I know what it is.
created a beverage still sold today. What is it? So we're gonna wait for our people. Oh, I forgot our prop. You want to talk about spending $5,000 at the National Lampoon?
Root beer.
Oh, so much for our delay. Ding, 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 ding. Who was it? Was Cynthia and Jeff?
Cynthia.
That is correct. Hires root beer. He created it. Here's the deal. He took the root of sassafras.
Oh.
No, I love root beer. It's delish.
Sassafras.
And this is apparently true. He wanted to call it root tea.
Oh, I would like that.
Yeah. But what happened, and this is, according to Wiki, this is true. Charles Hires was a teetotaler. And
I would like him even more.
Well, the thing was, since he was selling this mostly to miners and folks like that, they figured they wouldn't buy anything called tea, so they called it beer. And it looks like beer. It's got the foamy head on it. It's good. And if you've ever had a foamy head, you know how nice that can be.
So they're 1 for 1.
Mm-hmm. Everybody's playing against Cousin Cynthia and Jeff. Now we move all the way to 1891. Speaking of companies and products, George A. Hormel established his food company in Austin, Minnesota today. Hormel makes Spam, of course. Yeah. And the company also owns the brands, I didn't know this, Dinty Moore, Jenny O, and Skippy is owned by Hormel. But which of these is not a current Hormel brand product? Hormel Pure 81 ham, Hormel Mary Kitchen corned beef hash, Hormel tamales, Hormel old style gourmet roast beef.
I think
Well, give everyone a moment because we have a delay. So in 1891, Hormel was established by George A. Hormel in Austin, Minnesota. Well, we know Hormel makes Spam and they have these other brands, but which of these is not a Hormel product? Hormel, you can do A, B, C, or D. A is Hormel Pure 81 ham. Wait, don't say it.
Okay.
Hormel Mary Kitchen, because you might have an answer, it may not be correct.
Well, no, we have a battle going on, so.
Oh, here we go. Hormel Pure 81 ham. B is Hormel Mary Kitchen corned beef hash, Hormel tamales, or Hormel old style gourmet roast beef. Which of these is not a real Hormel product? Now, do you want to take a guess?
I agree with Cynthia. I say tamales, but Jeff says hash.
Do we have any others?
No. It's the men say hash and the girls say tamales.
I have stumped the panel. The answer is Hormel old style gourmet roast beef.
I was going to say that because they don't do beef. Yeah.
Yep. Believe it or not, they make
Oh.
tamales. They make. In fact, they made them yesterday, and they'll make them tamale.
Oh wait, now
Oh, I'm so good, aren't I?
I brought something up. I gotta go back.
Oh, that Joyce.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
That motherfucker, he
David,
can't some
I
food.
lost you. I lost you.
Oh dear. Oh well.
Hold on, wait, no, I can't find. I'm not gonna be able to do your quiz. Hold on.
Well, while Joyce is trying to get us back on I mean, I know you're still here. She just lost it on her
Okay, we're
computer
back.
momentarily.
We're
Welcome back. I'm Mac.
Ugh.
Anyway, you're watching Dave's Gone By. We're doing our Today
Oh, you
Yesterday
got a
quiz.
lot of reactions. They're sad that they didn't get their thingamajigs.
Well, you're 1-1. That's not so bad.
No.
Let's see how you do. We have more questions in our Today Yesterday quiz. 1929 is the year. I mean, stock market year, but yes, they still had. In fact, this was the year of the very first Academy Awards, held tonight, May 16th, 1929. Best Picture went to a silent movie directed by William Wellman. It was a war movie about airline pilots during World War I, and it was called
Was it the airplane movie with that funny guy,
No,
Leslie Nielsen?
no, a little before that time.
Oh.
Although Wellman directed that later. No. So, do you know your film trivia history? The very first film to win the very first Academy Award for Best Picture.
David, I just saw the picture you have posted of you on your birthday with those 4 little cakes from
Oh, I remember that. Where did we get
Whole
those?
Foods. You were
Yeah,
so happy.
I was.
I took them all the way from Brooklyn, Bubba.
I know. And we can order from Whole Foods. We have a gift certificate we've never used. Anyway, are we getting any answers on this? I'll say it again.
Yes, we have.
No, wait, don't say it yet.
Okay.
I'll read the question again,
Okay.
but I want to know if there are people responding. Very first Academy Awards were held tonight. Now, here's a little bit of a clue. The movie was shot 2 years earlier, which is why even in 1929, a silent movie was the winner of the Academy Award. It was directed by William Wellman, a war movie about airline pilots. That's kind of a clue to the title during World War I. Do we have?
Yeah, it's related to Joe Exotic. They're calling it Flying Tigers. Flying Tigers.
Okay, do we have another answer?
Cynthia said nope.
Well, no, what she said no.
I don't know.
She just says nope.
Yeah, Flying Tigers. Nope.
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 It's not Flying Tigers.
Oh, bummer. Oh, wait. And then Fred Cleaver, or Fred
Oh,
he said,
really?
Wings, Not of Desire.
No. Boom!
Woo!
Yo,
Go, Fred!
you go. I'm potato bombing.
Whoa!
Potato bombing.
Straight out of Greeley. Straight out of Greeley.
That's right.
Coming up in the what is it? In the fifth, around the fifth turn. Coming in the fifth turn in the outer ring of the race. Here comes Friendly galloping through the mud.
Love you, hon. But it's true. The movie was called Wings. And
Not only
Wings
did
of
they
Desire.
name it, but they also gave it another reference. They
That's
should get
right.
extra credit for that.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something. If you're talking about Wings of Desire,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I don't do windows. Okay, Wim Wenders is I'm sorry.
Whatever.
Yeah, okay. Moving on. So we got a real horse race going with people chiming
We do.
in.
Fred is
Yeah.
like the, what do you call it? The horse that's like, the horse with the probability, the 50 to 1 that you don't, it's
The
not
long
in
shot,
He wasn't
yeah.
even in the race and he just shot in and got the answer. Okay.
Congratulations.
It might have also been Wendy, who's a librarian.
That's
So
true, yeah.
having a wife who's a librarian is like a extra.
But no fair going into the World Book Encyclopedias on your shelves. You got your
No,
answer.
I
Now
think
you
it
got
was
the rating.
probably the Encyclopedia of Wendy. That's
Good.
what I'm thinking.
Well,
but-
no, wait, you're insulting
No,
Fred.
but Fred knows science fiction. He's a sci-fi guy.
True.
He's sci-fi.
Oh, yeah, okay. True, you're right.
He's
you're
the
right.
sci-fi guy.
And actually, I was told, this is back when I was working at a literary agency, that the real sci-fi people don't call it that anymore. They were calling it for a while SF
Well,
because it
that
was
I know.
cooler.
Yeah, but we're also like, we don't know. I'm lame. Fred
That's
knows.
right.
Fred used to write review stuff too. Yeah.
I say anybody who uses SF is an MF.
Oh God. Okay, Miles, come on. You got there waiting for the quiz.
Okay.
We got one for one, right? Didn't we get one with Cynthia and Jeff, one with Fred?
Yeah, well,
Friendly
some
versus
of them were 1 and 2.
what do you call them? Sinjeffi?
Oh, we have to think of a name for them. Gynthia.
Gynthia.
That could work. We'll
Okay.
think of Gynthia. Here we go. Great, best name of the day so far. Mabel McFiggin. This is 1939. May 16th, 1939, Mabel McFiggin of Rochester, New York, went to the store and she bought butter, eggs, and prunes.
Are you sure it's not my mom?
Tell the story. Tell the story.
No, my mother. So when I grew up,
in fact, can you tell the story slowly so I can stretch my legs and use the
No. Finish your show. Come on, you can hold it.
I can't, but I really need to stretch my legs.
Okay, put your legs around the box.
Ah, that's what she said. No, but tell the story.
So my mother likes fruits and vegetables and also pie. So she'll eat a whole pumpkin pie at once, and she'll what?
What is whole?
Just coffee.
There's something at the bottom of my coffee cup. It looks like a piece of rice. Hold on, let me see. Right, let me drink that.
It's probably your sputum.
I'm going to show it and I just ate it.
It's on your chin. It's on your chin.
That's what she said. It went back in my mouth. How did this?
Cynthia said the word gin. Oh, gin. That's their name. J-Y-N. Gin.
Gin.
Let me see what that is.
What is this? It looks like a little sliver of pastrami. How does this get in my coffee? Are you poisoning me?
No, it's a.
What? That's not a coffee ground.
It's honey. It's from my tea. I got some honey. It's chunked up honey.
It didn't taste like honey. I tasted it. It had no flavor at all. It's like lint.
It's the poison I've been feeding you.
And what is it?
It's probably milk skim because I heated your milk.
Why was it brown?
I don't know why it's brown.
It was like a piece of brown rice in my coffee.
Because you we back. We back.
I ate so much Chinese food that first night that I'm literally like it's coming up out of me and going. I'm like, oh.
Okay.
A piece of rib is
You
gonna.
got your quiz, people.
All right, I'm sorry. We were in the middle of a question, weren't we? Oh, Mabel McFiggin.
Yeah, with the prunes. So, my mother ate almost a bag of prunes and didn't have a good outcome. That's their story.
Yeah, she figured, I'm just gonna have this as a snack and eat the bag.
She loves it. She
didn't love it later on that night.
No, I know.
Okay. But Mabel McFiggin did buy prunes and butter and eggs. Why? On May 16th, 1939, was this of historical significance? No.
Okay.
Good guess. Good guess.
Come on. Oh, and then Cynthia said, or Sif, like Cynthia and Jeff, Sif or gin.
Like Sif, like syphilis?
C-Y-F-F. How would you say that?
Sif is short for syphilis.
I don't make these. I just
I know.
made them.
What you want to be called Sif? I will call you Sif.
J-Y-N, gin, or Sif. C-Y-F-F.
I'm going with Sif. In fact, I just clapped for Sif.
Oh,
I gave Sif the clap, if you know what I'm saying. Oh, man. What a show we're having.
I know.
So do we have an answer, though, of why this was historically significant?
She said, yes, it is. It's short for, the bad word.
Oh, yes, it is. I know that.
You have to ask them. Give them time to put it.
Okay. Yeah.
Ask Friendy and Sif.
Why was it historically significant that on this date,
Up your card.
that this woman bought butter and eggs and prunes, went to the store and did this in a different way. Why was this significant? It's a tough one. No. That's a really good guess. You can actually want to give that guess out loud?
I thought credit card.
Nope, she did not use a credit card. However, you are correct in a sense
store credit.
that she didn't pay like the usual way with cash.
We got nothing. Hold on. We got no answers yet. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Let me put.
I'm trying to do a show here, people.
Let me put in. I'll put in a gift that usually gets people.
Ooh,
Cynthia said shortage.
Not really. Even though it was like World War II starting in Europe, but no. This is in America. Why was?
Look what I put.
Yeah. I can't. Oh.
It's a bunch of dogs. Ration book.
So close.
That's Cynthia's
Kind of.
ration
It's
book.
actually a great answer, but America wasn't rationing yet in 1939. The war hadn't started for us until later on. So, any other answers? I'm gonna have to give the old
No, we got
xylophone.
ration book.
Oh no, I've lost my xylophone funky thingy. Oh no. Where is it? I'm just gonna have to do it with my fingers. I mean, ration book is kind of close.
I deleted the dogs because they were making me crazy.
Oh well.
Oh, stamps. She said stamps.
Meaning? Yeah. I mean,
Food stamps? Ration stamps?
It wasn't like green stamps. This was the very first, she was the first person to ever pay with food using the brand new food stamps program.
That's what she put green stamps, but we'll give it to her.
No, we give her half credit.
Oh,
Green
half
stamps
credit.
is not food stamps.
Partial credit, Cynthia, partial credit. Everyone gets an A.
And this I did not know. The food stamp program still kind of exists.
It's
but
called
they're
SNAP.
How'd you know? Oh,
Because
question.
that's what I work in, Ding
Yeah.
Dong. Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program.
I'm going to give you the point for knowing that.
Give me an acronym. I got it.
But when
got
it was first inaugurated as food stamps, it was meant to bridge the gap between farms that were having these enormous surpluses and people in the cities who, quote, city folks with outstretched hands.
Cynthia said green food stamps. Good girl.
Oh my God. I can't figure out a better way to sit with my legs here. Okay.
Open your legs.
That's what she said.
She can do it, see?
Actually, that's what he said. Oh.
You're fine.
All right. We're in our yesterday quiz mode. Oh, by the way, it's noon Eastern time here in the Daverhood. You're watching Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce. This is our 746th episode. We've been calling it TED Talk in honor of our guest early in the program, Ted Greenberg, who was talking to Rabbi Sal Solomon. What else? And it is May 16th. 2020.
Did you wish everyone a happy belated Mother's Day?
Happy belated Mother's Day. Happy almost Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Any other thing? Happy non-getting COVID Day, I hope, for all your sakes. So we do our Today, Yesterday quiz every week. It is a trivia quiz where I ask these questions specifically about the day that we're doing. So today is May 16th. We're doing May 16th in history. We've got some more questions for you. Are you ready? I know you are.
I covered the dog, but he's getting active.
Oh, it's a Broadway question. Oh, it's a Broadway question.
I think you're sitting on my phone, too. Here, have a
hope
sit.
not. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
1946 is the year. May 16th is the date.
Yeah.
At Broadway's Imperial Theater, a new musical opens featuring soon-to-be classic ballads like...
It better not be Hamilton.
1946?
Yes.
Lin-Manuel Miranda wasn't even born yet.
Lin-Manuel Noriega had it, yes. That was his first incarnation of earthness.
Well, as great as Lin-Manuel Miranda is, he didn't write these songs like I Got Lost in His Arms.
Yes, he did.
Moonshine Lullaby, and They Say It's Wonderful. Name the show.
Hold up your sign and do your dum-dum.
Actually, if it's a question, it's can you name the show?
Yeah.
So classic musical
Say
opened
it again.
on this date in 1946. The songs, just the ballads of this show, including I Got Lost in His Arms, Moonshine Lullaby, and They Say It's Wonderful. Even though the show is, I'll give it a hint, is a comedy.
Friendly? Come on, you got to catch up, buddy.
A light comedy that is actually more known for its funny songs.
If it was cabaret, Friendly would kill it.
Well,
they know.
You would know, if I mentioned the comedy songs, you'd probably get this right off.
Cat on a Hot Tin Roof?
Yeah. Or on roller skates.
Yentl.
Nope. Although the score was written by a Jewish guy. Came off the boat.
Was it Cantor Ebb?
Nope. Little
Barry Manilow?
No, not Barry Manilow.
John Cicada?
God, no.
Kenny G?
Do we have any answers yet?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I hope it's not that one. Carousel?
What a good guess.
Yeah, I love that. My mother and I saw that on Broadway. It was beautiful.
But no, Carousel did not have those songs.
We have to have Sif. Sif has to guess again. It was Sif.
It was Sif. Well, Friendly, where are you traveling? Where's Cousin Mark? And
Friendly now. Friendly's like they must be a mutter. They're in the back of the pack of the horses.
Well, I'll give it another couple of seconds, and then I'll give another hint though. It was written by this God Bless American Jewish guy.
Oh, who wrote the God Bless America? My God Bless America is written by Rage Against the Machine.
Well before that,
No?
this Jewish fellow off the boat,
Give them the question mark so they
who
know the
lived
answer.
past 100, by the way. The songs, one more time. The ballads
Was
were...
it the guy you helped get into a cab on Broadway?
No,
Okay.
even before although this, as I said, this guy lived, and he would be on his birthday. People would stand out on the street by his apartment
Yeah.
and sing up to him, and he for not till the very end, but well into his 90s, he'd come to the window and wave.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So who am I talking about? This was his most famous and best show.
I'm gonna write any guesses. Hold on.
And what I'll do is I'll give you some of the other songs from the show.
Guesses. Guesses.
Yes.
It looks weird.
Mm.
Oh, Irving Berlin's.
Yes.
Which is part of it.
We're getting there. Other songs in the show
I did
include
that.
Colonel Buffalo Bill, and anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't. No, you can't. Speaking of schizophrenics.
No, that's not schizophrenia.
Well, what is
would be
that
multiple personality.
Isn't that part of schizophrenia?
No, multiple personality and dissociative disorders are different than schizophrenia.
Well, what do you call a multiple personality person? Is there a nickname for that?
I don't know.
Crazy. Crazy. All right.
We didn't get anything more.
Well, I can't believe it. I was just showing my knee.
That's okay. My Facebook has a little thing that says new students over here. I don't know what that's about. What is that?
Well, do we have any guesses on this
We
thing?
just have Irving Berlin.
Well, Irving Berlin is correct. And the name of the show is, I think of another song, Doing What Comes Naturally.
Got nothing.
All right. Well, on May 6th.
Wait. Annie, get your gun.
Mazel tov. Oh.
Yay.
Took you long enough, folks. Annie Get Your Gun opened and ran hundreds and hundreds of performances. Now, I didn't even remember this, but
why does my thing say new students?
I don't know. Annie Get Your Gun was actually supposed to have a score by Jerome Kern, but with Dorothy Fields writing the lyrics. But Kern died 5 days after he got the assignment, and then what happened was Fields was still going to write the lyrics, but then she stepped away, realizing that Irving Berlin liked to write both the music and lyrics to his own songs. And it was a great decision for everybody because it's one of the great. What?
Fred, you're gonna get it. Fred should get this. Fred said, Lin-Manuel Miranda got your gun. Friendy, you deserve the credit. Friendy gets full credit for that.
Why do you hate Lin-Manuel Miranda?
Because he's false humble.
He's not false.
I'm so humble. I make the $1 billion everything, and I help the people by giving a lottery for the poor people.
Like it's
bull cocky doodle.
How is it fake humble if he's actually helping people?
Because he's not helping people in the way that he says. He's fake humble. Thank you, Fred. Friendy, thank you.
All right. Moving on to the next question in our Today Yesterday quiz. Well, we have a Jewish alert on this one.
Oh.
May 16th, 1948, the first president of Israel is elected. And his name is?
Omar Gaddafi.
He was in the running. He was nominated, but no, Gaddafi didn't make it.
Was it Maimonides?
No. Wasn't Moses, wasn't Idi Amin, no.
Edith Piaf?
Clarabelle, no, it was not.
Clarabelle.
Nor was it Clarabelle.
Clarabelle.
Jewish guy.
Not Lin-Manuel Noriega, no.
And a very, very devoted Zionist. Who was the first president of Israel?
Oh, she's got it. Benny.
Who?
No?
No.
Oh, wait, Cynthia. No, you're wrong, girlfriend. No.
It wasn't David Ben-Gurion.
No.
It was Chaim Weizmann.
Chaim Weizmann.
Chaim.
It rolls off the tongue.
Chaim Weizmann, who was tireless in calling for the birth of Israel and working with Harry Truman and trying to get Israel going. And he was named the first president. Golda was the prime
Why do you
minister.
think he's not? Why do you think he's not easily brought to mind, like compared to David Ben-Gurion?
I don't know. You can't. I looked through all the presidents of Israel, and we don't remember any of them. They're really mostly forgotten.
Except Sharon.
Well, right, yeah. So, or was Sharon the prime minister? Like, and Bibi, I think, is the prime minister. President is more of a not as powerful position.
Cynthia said Jeff had it right.
We've got our next question in our yesterday quiz. More Broadway, because I know how well everybody's doing on Broadway questions.
Broadway. Well, if it's cabaret, Friendy will get it.
It's not cabaret.
Okay.
Although
then we got problems. Then we got problems.
This show is kind of cabaret-like.
Okay.
On May 16th, 1965. Now, okay, these two people. 3 years earlier, they had collaborated on a show called Stop the World, I Want to Get Off. They teamed up again 3 years later, on May 16th, 1965, for the opening of this show called The Roar of the Grease Paint, The Smell of the Crowd. It opened tonight at the Schubert Theater. Name the composer and the star. So they did two shows.
Well, you got to read that slowly. That's a lot of
They had a big hit called Stop the World, I Want to Get Off, and then they wanted to follow it up. They followed it up with The Roar of the Grease Paint, The Smell of the Crowd, which opened tonight in 1965. Can you name not just the star, but the person who wrote the score, the book and lyrics? I know it's a toughie. Joyce is doing some sexy yoga poses over. Hello.
It's my bag.
I should turn the camera to watch that.
I don't think you can show that on TV.
Okay.
Oh, Cynthia said Anthony Newley.
Okay, that's half right though. But
half right.
Who wrote the score?
Who wrote the score? Show your question. Ooh.
So Anthony Newley is the correct answer. Anthony Newley, because Stop the World made him a big star. And I know this is the tougher part of the question. Who wrote the songs?
Hold on, we got Leslie?
Yes.
Uh-oh, I can't say it. Bracuse?
Who got that?
Cynthia,
Jeff. You rock.
Sif got it.
Sif, go Sif. In this case, I am giving Sif the clap. That is well done.
I gave them the love because that's the harder one.
Leslie Brickus got both.
Leslie Brickus or Bricuse?
I used to call it Brickus, but apparently it's Brickus. Leslie Brickus and Anthony Newley.
Wow, they got it.
Well done.
They're smart. They got it. They see the Broadway theater.
All right, we got two more questions in our today.
Oh, Jeff got it.
Jeff got well done, Jeff. 1965 is the year.
Oh, wait, there's something. Oh, he had the album. Jeff had the album.
There you go. See, he thought he could trick us with Brickus, but I'm not that thickus.
You sound like Don Rickus.
Here we go. 1965 is the year. May 16th is the date. It's pasta in a can. And it was introduced today by Franco-American, a subsidiary of the Campbell Soup Company. What is it called?
I know what it is.
You know that. I think we know this one, but here we go. Introduced on this date in 1965, pasta in a can, courtesy of Franco-American. What was
which no Italian would really eat, you know.
I know.
Okay.
Do we have? I'm surprised we don't have an answer on this.
Wait, no. Just give them time. Put your thing. Put your question. I'm gonna type in guesses.
As they noodle about for the answer.
Oh man, I missed it. Oh, SpaghettiOs. Uh-oh.
SpaghettiOs. The neat round spaghetti you can eat with a spoon was put on the market today, back in 1965. So yeah, SpaghettiOs it is. Well, and this just by sheer coincidence, we had Hormel, we had Hires root beer,
and then prunes. You had the whole
oh,
prune thing.
that's right.
Shout out to Mom. Don't eat a bag of prunes, lady.
All right, we got this. You'll get this one. 1966 is the year, May 16th. Today, yesterday, with songs like Sloop John B., God Only Knows, and Caroline No, this classic album was released today by Capitol Records. Name it and the artists. Okay, that's our last question of the quiz. Can you tell us the group and the album that released an album on this date in history in 1966, featuring the tunes Sloop John B., God Only Knows, and Caroline No? Can you name them and it?
Give them time.
Oh, yeah. I don't know where my little...
Oh, they got it.
I'm sure they did.
I know there's an answer.
That's it, from the same album.
It's Beach Boys' Pet Sounds.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, well, oh, good. You ended on a big,
yeah.
Cynthia
And Jeff really, finished strong. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, honey, God only knows what I do without you. Sif, right?
Sif.
Yeah, remember that. So yes, indeed. So how did you guys all do in our today, yesterday quiz? Some, I like to make some hard. That's what she said. And I like to make some easy, and I hope you had fun playing today, yesterday. We try and do that every week. And congratulations for Cynthia and Jeff, and for Friendly for chiming in on a couple of those answers. Yay to all of you and to everyone who played along on Dave's Gone By, where it is 12:15 in the afternoon Eastern Time. Well, let's see, we've done so much on this program. I think we're not going to do Dave's Big Dictionary, but we were...
It's already 12:17, Bob.
Yeah, man. But we did Greeley Crimes of All Times. We had our guest.
Your shirt looks like the Beach Boys.
It does, yeah. Yeah, well, is there a circle? No.
No, it's very Hawaiian, very,
But we did, let's see, our Wretched Plan of Destiny, we did our quiz, we had Broadway, I guess we're about finished. Well, ladies and... Oh, no. You thought I'd forget. Or you thought I would spare you. But ladies and gentlemen, Joyce and I, for several years, lived in
You
northern...
have 60 comments, but I can't see them all.
Well, you've been reading them all the way through. They're mostly answers to the questions, too. But we lived in northern Colorado for almost a decade.
Yeah.
And for no particular reason, while I was there, I started writing a poem about as many places in Colorado as I possibly could. I wrote a lot of poems, I think more than 100 at this point. I bet you didn't know there were 100 places in Colorado, but there are. And now they all have a limerick affixed to them. There's a 5-line poem that is usually rather crude and naughty and awful, especially the way I write.
Oh, Jeff said, what do we win? After COVID, we'll give them the puzzle.
We'll give you a hug. And yeah, they want this puzzle? They want, yeah. Okay, they can have that. Well, wait a minute. Did they? How did they do? They got a couple of questions wrong.
Yeah,
did they actually win?
No, until they get everything.
Yeah, you need to go at least 8 for 9 or something like that, or 9 for 8, which would be really difficult.
This is the post-millennial philosophy. Everybody wants a trophy.
Yeah, everybody. Nobody wants to plant the corn.
Everybody wants to raid the barn. Amen,
yeah.
brother.
So here's the deal, though. It's time to get cultural. It's time to get poetic. Because, as I say, I've been writing these poems about various places in Colorado. Get the children out of the room, my friends, because it's time for our Colorado Limerick of the Damned.
You're the poetry man. A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick. Rocky Mountain,
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. And today we go to a place I didn't know existed Amazing how you can live in a state for so many years and actually not even know places in it, like Crystola, 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 Colorado. This is a small, unincorporated town in central Colorado. It's about 8,000 feet above sea level. Tiny little thing. Its original name was Trout Park. I mean, there's something fishy about that, but it's actually known for cattle ranching and miners who passed through it on their way. And I guess they were all drinking Hires root beer as they did. Essentially, it's really part of a greater area called Woodland Park, known really not much for anything except they do have a roadhouse motorcycle bar and grill built in 1884, Crystola, Colorado. Well, go figure, old Dave has figured out a poem that he's going to do for our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, Crystola, Colorado. Un hombre muy mal en Crystola shot poor Pedro with his pistola. The bullet was thick and lodged in his dick and made him bleed from his pistola. Yeah.
I didn't know.
That's our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, ladies and gentlemen. Please send your comments and complaints to Dave's Gone By at AOL.com. Dave's Gone By at AOL.com, or feel free to reach me via Facebook just by posting your messages here, whether it's during the show or anytime all week long on our Dave's Gone By Facebook page. And remember that if you tell people about watching the show live on Facebook, you don't have to be a follower or a liker of this program. It's great if you are, but we're open to the public. So somebody says, oh, I don't want to join Facebook, I don't want to give my information. You can just go to our page, Dave's Gone By on Facebook. So please tell your family and friends and anybody that you think might enjoy. Will anybody actually enjoy the show? Well, somebody who will have fun watching this show. Now, that's our live program on Facebook, which Facebook also archives. If you scroll and you scroll, it takes some time, but you can scroll down and get our last 2.5 years of these right on Facebook. But if you don't want to, you can go to our website, davesgoneby.com. And this is the place I forgot to mention. Not only do we have our archives of the shows there, but we also archive just our interviews, and we've had hundreds of them over the years, with, as we mentioned in our Friends of the Daverhood segment.
Put an icon of a baby saying, stay strong.
Yeah. So you can go there, and if you don't want to wade through the whole show, or there's some famous person that interests you, and you're like, oh my God, that person was on this program, I want to hear that, go to davesgoneby.com and look for the interview archives. Now, we have to clean up a bunch of those. A lot of the links aren't necessarily working, although the past few years they're all set and working, but we're getting to them. We really are. So check them out at davesgoneby.com. Also do check out our Dave's Gone By page at archive.org and at castbox.fm if you want podcasts only. Well, I think we've done a pretty fabulous show. It's a pretty fun and fabulous show, if I do say so myself. I hope you have enjoyed. I certainly am very, very grateful to Ted Greenberg for coming in and being our guest on the show last minute. I was really kind of bummed this week because I was asking a couple of people to be guests on the show, and I was getting turned down, which sucked. Because it's not as if anybody has anything else better to do than be a guest on. What are they doing on a Saturday morning? I mean, they're not going bowling. You know, they're not setting up to do a concert at the Hollywood Bowl. They're just sitting at home. And yet I get one person, I message them on Facebook, and I said, hey, you know, it's like, well, no, I've been really depressed since March 16th, and this is a bad time. And I'm going to make them feel, well, actually, we're going to Rabbi Solomon, and what probably made them feel a lot worse. So maybe not that particular person. And then there was a famous theater person we tried to get on the show. It was really bumming me out. And then another theater person that I know is really busy doing Zoom stuff. So I kind of understood, but geez, a half hour out of your day on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, some people don't want to be recorded on, you know.
Well, so they could just do audio. We offer sometimes
We're fancy now, honey. We're fancy.
I know.
You're so fancy.
I'm just saying, you get these selfish motherfuckers.
You're not going to get more guests if you call people refuse.
I'm Miles Davis. I don't give a shit.
He didn't end so well, honey. I wouldn't use him
That's true. Yeah. And you know that later Miles Davis is just too much. Get it? Yeah. I'm gonna leave that one on the corner.
Lord in heaven.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about bitches brew pun, but I just really can't. Anyway. But so I was extra thrilled when Ted Greenberg of The Complete Performer said, yeah, love to be on the show.
He was great.
What a terrific guest. So please support him by checking out what he's doing. It's at thecompleteperformer.com, thecompleteperformer.com. And he also has a website called tedgreenberg.com. So who knows, maybe on June 6th, he's going to do it. He's going to get, I think maybe with Cuomo's orders, he should wait until like June 15th or 16th or something. So he can do it any day. He doesn't have to be in the Soho Playhouse to do it. So get those cabs together and do that outside thing and go for it. Why not go for it, right? It'd be fabulous if he could. But either way, find out what Ted Greenberg, is up to by going to tedgreenberg.com or thecompleteperformer.com. And we thank him so much for being with us in the Daverhood. Thank you to Rabbi Saul Solomon for spending the first part of the show with us. ShalomDammit.com is his website. At Rabbi Saul Solomon is his Twitter feed. ShalomDammit@AOL.com is his place to send messages. Whew. Anything else we didn't cover?
See you all
next week. Next Saturday. We should, God willing, be back with another edition, our 700. Oh, we know what we got to call this one, even if we don't have a guest. It'll be 747. That show is just going to take off. Get it? 747? Yeah.
Or,
someday you'll get that joke, but not yet. And with that, and shouldn't we end with that? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us for Dave's Gone By. Have a great week. Stay safe. Follow the COVID laws, even if you don't necessarily agree with them. They certainly can't physically hurt, and keep in contact and say hi.
Look what I said, see you all next Saturday in the neighborhood for show 747. And I put a paper airplane with hearts.
Oh, sweet. And everybody, you motherfuckers gone by.
Days gone by. Days gone by. Days gone by. Days gone by.
Well, do I just end the meeting, or how do I make sure I'm recording and all that? And just end the meeting?
End the meeting and it won't stop recording.
Bye, everybody.